This is ABL Live. My name is Anthony Brian Logan. We're just getting the stream started right now, so if you hear my voice already, please share this on the friends page, share it on your social media. Let's go and get the party rolling. We're trying to build an audience right now. The number to call is 434-658-1220, but my phone lines are not on right now. Give me a few minutes while I blast it out to a few people and let everybody know you in the building. Thank you all for being here. We have a lot to talk about tonight. It's a lot going on. I see y'all in the building already. What's going on? Orange Pitbull, Austin Potter, Jump Pal, the Webmaster, the Deep, Jordan Hall, Prepping for Beginners, Orange Pitbull. All right, I see you. Go ahead and call in. What's up with all these N-words, man? Come on. Y'all keep it all the way clean tonight. I'm plugged in. No more Wi-Fi. Everything's good. Jump Power video. I'm just getting the stream cracking right now. Just trying to get a few more people in here before I go ahead and get it rolling. It's a lot going on tonight, man. We got Milo. We got the Get Out movie. A lot of y'all got triggered by my review. I definitely want to hear some of you guys' comments on that. We could talk about it, but we'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, even though I know if we talk about it, we're gonna have to spoil it a little bit, and that's okay. But let's just get the people that are watching a warning before you do any of that. Hillbilly Swart, what's going on, man? I see you in the building. Yeah, Jump Power. I'm always do that. I enjoy Get Out. A lot of y'all thought differently. That's okay. It's definitely going to be a discussion. What's going on? The Swede Speaks. I see you. Your video did pretty well about Rank B. Keep producing the content, man. Keep on producing it. I don't know who Tom Perez is. Orange Pitbull. What's going on, Osama? I see you in there. Alrighty. We got 94 live in the building. Thank you all for being here. We're just getting a few more. I'll probably go live at about a 3-minute and 30-second mark as far as my video is concerned. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. Get Out movie, you got to go watch it. I did a review, and that's pretty much all I tell you about it. But I'm sure I get a lot of calls about it, or I may get a few. Shout out to Daniel Gardner, Copycat Zen. Nah, I'm not. I couldn't be a Black Milo now because Milo's a homosexual, and I love women. So that ain't really my thing. We'll talk about Milo. You know, I know that's going to be a topic of discussion tonight. We'll talk about Milo. That's definitely going to be a topic of discussion once we get the phone lines cracking. Thanks for the support on Twitter, Jump Pal. I see you tweeted it. You shared it on your page. That's what I want y'all to do. Share it on your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you at. Share it. Email it to somebody if they don't have social medias. All right, I'm live. Welcome to ABL Live. My name is Anthony Brian Logan. I'm your host. Thank you all for being here. If you don't know who I am, I'm like a political commentator kind of guy. We do a live call-in show every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go for about 2.5 hours. The number to call is 434-658-1220. My phone lines are not on at this moment. I just want to introduce what's going on tonight. We got a few topics to talk about. We got Milo Yiannopoulos and the whole fallout from the Drunken Peasants podcast. We got the Get Out movie. People were triggered by that. You know, it's definitely going to be a topic of discussion tonight. I know I'll probably get a few calls about it since I did like a review of it. And we also got to talk about what else we got going on. I don't even know. It's a lot going on. Oh, we got Bruce Jenner, whatever you want to call him, Caitlyn Jenner. and the whole transgender bathroom kerfuffle. We got just general politics going on. What's going on, Terrence? I see you in the building. Shout out to Kudzu Love coming from the beach. But we got a lot going on. So I'm going to go ahead and get these phone lines cracking. Again, the number to call is 434-658-1220. So let's go ahead and turn it on. The phone lines are now open. If you guys want to donate to me, you can look under your name in the chat. There's a little $ right there, and that is Super Chat. You can push that button, send Super Chat, and you can also send a message. And when you send a message, it'll be at the top of the screen for a short period of time. It'll be up there longer, depending upon how much you give. Obviously, if you give more money, it'll stay up there for longer. So anybody that wants to see your comment can just scroll to the top or just move their cursor to the top and click right there and see it for however long they want. And also, you can go to my website, anthonyblogan.com, and you can donate right there. You can also go to my Patreon, patreon.com/AnthonyBLogan. That's ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN. So now we got that out the way. Let's get to the calls. 832, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Tom M.
All right, what's going on?
Yeah, my question's pretty short. What's your opinion on net neutrality and the FCC's current position on it?
Well, I've not really been following, honestly. I was kind of following it when it first was being mentioned, but I'm not really familiar with what's going on with it recently. Can you fill me in?
Yeah. So, do you know like everything about net neutrality or why it's important? Or
like I say, I remember when it first came out, I was kind of following it a little bit. Basically, what they were saying, from what I got from it when it first came out, was that they're going to make the internet like a utility, and it'll be So basically, that's pretty much what I know of it. I'm not really sure about all the details.
Well, my position on it is that it should stay that way. You know, it's sort of like how the phone line started in the 1800s. You know, you really have to keep it nice and, you know, even keel with anyone that wants to participate in it. Because it could directly affect you too, whether they, you know, throttle your views or they throttle your position. So it's what they're considering now is letting the internet service providers control the flow of who can provide content on the internet.
Okay. So basically, net neutrality will be a way to kind of censor you through the way that they allow you to access the internet. Is that what you're saying?
Right, but it would be more corporate controlled, more controlled through the internet service providers. So that's like AT&T, Time Warner, all them.
Okay. So what's the current position from the FCC? Are they still trying to push that forward?
Well, this is like one of the few things that I actually agree with the Obama administration, where net neutrality was a big deal and preserving it was a big deal. Wherein like companies didn't really have a say in it, and it did remain a utility. But there was news out today where the FCC's position on it is changing.
Okay, so what is it now?
It's changing to that of giving the power to the corporations in charge of providing internet service, so that they can throttle certain services like, say, let's say YouTube or you know, Google instead of, you know, DuckDuckGo or Vimeo, right?
So do you think that the private companies would do a better job than the government, or the other way around?
Well, I mean, this is an interesting issue because there's like I'm sort of on the fence, because when you really think about it, you know, you have to pay tolls on the freeway, right? So, I mean, and that comes up a lot whenever net neutrality comes up. So you can't really say that it's just this public utility if it's not treated that way. But you know, it's definitely a complicated issue. But I think that it should remain. I think that any regulation that affects the internet should remain unchanged as possible because it's so new. So That's my position on it.
Okay, I got to look a lot more into that because I'm not really brushed up on it, to be quite honest with you. But I say that I'm not really in favor of the government taking things over, because the government, a lot of times, they do political things. Like, for instance, let's say they don't like what I'm saying. I think they could do the same thing to me. They could kind of censor me in a way, just like what they're doing with the the DCMA, whatever that is, where they take down certain things on the internet that violate this act. I can't remember what exactly is, but the government is behind that. They took down certain file sharing sites, but the private companies. Go ahead.
The private companies are using the law to take down stuff like this, right?
But it's the government that's creating the law, right?
Right. Yeah. But I mean, they're and you know, the corporations are lobbying for certain laws to be in place so that they can do stuff like that. You know. So it's all you know, it's all a web of, you know, what you know, whatever they want to do. But I don't know. I feel like net neutrality is one of those issues where, you know, because I'm definitely more of like a you know, all for capitalism, all for, you know, free enterprise, all that sort of thing. But the internet to me feels like it feels like a utility, right? It feels the same as, like, you know, electricity and phone lines and just even water. Like it feels like a utility to me. So I feel like it should be treated the exact same way. And to say that it's different just because it's new, I don't feel that that's fair, right? I mean, consider how it would affect you and your channel, right? What if YouTube didn't particularly like your channel, and then they any viewership that would be going to you, they decided to make your videos slower and other videos faster, right? Like, well, you wouldn't want that to happen, right?
Not at all, but it's kind of a deep issue. I think I may do a video on it once I get a little bit more information, but I'm gonna get to a few more calls. I definitely appreciate that bit of information.
I would love your opinion on it, because I love watching your videos.
Oh, definitely. So I think I'll do a little bit more information, get a little more information on it. I may do a video, but thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, then. Take care.
Bye.
804, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Larry.
All right, Larry, what's going on?
Yeah, I had a question. How do you feel about Donald Trump's place when it comes to marijuana? He said that he's against it, unless it's medical. What do you think about that?
This is a great question, because I was just talking about this on my social media a little while ago. Personally, I'm not for the legalization of recreational use marijuana, not because of weed itself, but because what it represents. Because I think kind of long term, I think about long term things. It's just like what China is doing. China is playing a long game. Like, they were getting rare earth metals and stuff like that. But I digress. My point is that they think long. They think years and years ahead. That's how they make moves. And I think with marijuana, when you make it legal for recreational use, what it does is that it what's what I'm looking for? It removes the taboo from it. It removes that line that's kind of like in the sand. It's like, okay, we'll tolerate alcohol, we'll tolerate cigarettes, which are also very harmful, and I don't even do those. But weed is kind of taboo. It's kind of legal, but it's not. It's something that you might want to stay away from. But then when you make it legal, now that line that was in the sand, it gets pushed further. And people that want to legalize drugs, in my humble opinion, not saying it's true or false, but in my opinion, I think they won't be satisfied with weed. And then once that line has been pushed further down the road or pushed closer towards other drugs, it'll be easier to try to make a case for that. Just like what they're doing right now in the Pacific Northwest, and I think in Washington State, where they're trying to build houses for people to shoot up heroin. Now, why in the world would you condone that kind of behavior, shooting up heroin? Who wants to live next to that?
I understand, but heroin kills people. I mean, alcohol has been proven to kill people, alcohol poisoning, but yet there are so many benefits from marijuana.
I understand.
Why can't we use recreational? I mean, I understand what you're saying too, but I mean, you can't really put it in the same category, I wouldn't think.
I'm not.
With something like heroin.
I'm not.
Or some, you know, so they just got it classed as such. I mean, cigarettes, in my opinion, I mean, they're both carcinogenics, but you can absorb it through foods. You don't have to smoke it. So, I mean, I don't see why they are so. I mean, and it generates so much revenue. I mean, if you tax it, it's like prohibition back in 1930s. It creates a criminal element when you make it hard to accept, like pills. Pills are the biggest street drug right now because it's something that's highly regulated and you have to get it medically. So if you make it to where it's, I mean, in your opinion, if you make it to where it's available or, you know, are not available from what you're saying, it'll be better because it's taboo. But I just, you know, I just don't know, you know, why you feel that way when there's just.
I've explained it. It's not. It's like I said from the beginning. It's not about weed itself. So you're making the case for weed not being harmful, and I actually agree with you. But that's not even the point. The point is that there's a line that's drawn. It's just the same thing going on with the whole transgender thing. It first started with the gay rights thing. First, it was, okay, let's allow gays to be married. Then it was, okay, you know what? Since somebody is gay and they want to get married, you must make my gay wedding cake, or else you're a bigot. I'm not gay, but you understand what I'm saying. That's and then now you got that ball rolling with the gay stuff. Now what's next? Okay, transgender. See, before the line was drawn at gay stuff. Now you push the line to transgender. So now you got cases in the Supreme Court right now about transgender issues, and now they're trying to relate the transgender issues to black issues, but you would never have done that 10 years ago because the line was further away from it. Do you see what I'm saying?
I kind of understand what you're saying now. Well, okay, well, since you're on transgender, now if somebody says, well, I say that I feel like I'm a woman, you know, I should be privy to, you know, women's, you know, everything that they can get as far as if they can get help or aid or anything that is only available to women. If a guy says, hey, I identify as a woman, I'm a transgender woman, then basically they could exploit that and get all the, you know, because there's billions of dollars spent on, you know, funding all kinds of different stuff when it comes to women and loans and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you think that transgender, what he's done with transgender, I mean, is right or wrong?
Well, I think it's the correct thing. I think it's a correct thing in my opinion. Leave it up to the states, and let's not have it be national. If certain states want to say, just like really, it should be more of a city to city issue. It should be like I was saying. I think I did a video on it. Like if you're in San Francisco, that's a high gay area, and it'll obviously have a higher trans population than the rest of the country. So if they want to have unisex restrooms throughout the city, that's one thing. But I don't think the rules that apply in San Francisco, which is a high gay area, a high trans area, should be applied to, i.e., you know, Inland Empire or like Northern California, like Jefferson or somewhere like that, where that same dynamic does not exist.
That makes sense. Well, okay, one more question before I go. They've been hitting Trump pretty hard about this, you know, relationship with Russia. Why aren't they highlighting the 20% of the plutonium that was given away, I think it was by Obama or Hillary, I forget, to Russia?
Yeah.
That was 20% of America's plutonium was given away, and they're completely skipping over that because the plutonium, that can kill millions of people.
I'm going to cut you off, but I don't want to take too long here. But I know what you're talking about, and you already know the reason. You know the reason for that. You know the answer to that question is because the mainstream media, they have a liberal bias, they have a leftist bias. So anything that
that kills people.
I mean, I understand. You know? I understand. You 100% correct, but it doesn't matter. You're thinking logically, but you must think illogically to understand the left. So that's pretty much what it is, man. But it was a great conversation. It was a great conversation, man. I won't take too long. I got a lot of callers right now. They're blowing me up. So I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you for your support.
Hey, yes, sir.
All right, then. 267, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking to?
This is Tom.
Tommy?
Yes, Tom.
All
is
right.
that Anthony Bryan Logan?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on your show. Yeah, so you guys were talking about, you know, LGBT, right? You know, so yeah, National Geographic, right, can have a, you know, a magazine cover of, you know, an 8-year-old boy, you know, with pink and purple hair and stuff like that, and they're saying he's going to get, you know what I'm talking about? Did you see that?
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna tell the chat what's going on. Now, there was a National Geographic issue with a 9-year-old boy dressed as a girl, and this is like the face of the new civil rights issue or something to that equivalent. Am I kind of on it a little bit here?
Yeah. Yeah, but that goes to the whole thing. Like, you know, first of all, with like the mainstream media, you know, people are turning off CNN. People are unsubscribing to National Geographic, right? You know. Sorry, I'm gonna no problem.
Take your time.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, that's all pseudoscience, because really that's a mental issue. You know, people aren't allowed to work on drugs to solve that mental issue that they have. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to, you know, get the operations and the hormones and stuff. They're, you know, suppressing that and just telling the little boys and girls and stuff they need to change their genitals and all that stuff. It's really actually, it's just a bunch of bunk. But basically what I was trying to get at was, it's one thing for the mainstream media to promote these things, but when you got like this institutional thing with academia, where I saw an interview with a conservative professor, he was saying in sociology, you're like 10 times more likely to meet a Marxist professor than a conservative, not even a liberal, a Marxist.
Yes.
So, this is a serious problem, and I don't think anybody knows the solution to this problem, is that they're teaching basically like sociology and all this pseudoscience to teach people basically all this gobbledygook. I don't really need to explain it. Everybody's been seeing what's going on in the universities. This is a bigger problem than the mainstream media, because they got tenure and they're on the super far left, teaching all this crap ideology, and basically, I just what are your thoughts on how to tackle that issue? That entrenchment. It's bigger than the mainstream media, because the mainstream media, we can turn them off.
I'm sorry. What's your actual question there? Because you had a lot going on. But what's your actual question?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's that the mainstream media is easier to get over than academia, because we can easily, take out their funding by not watching them. All that. The academic people who are even farther to the left,
yes,
get tenure. So this is a serious problem. I don't think anybody really has a solution to this problem.
I really don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, I don't really know. The best thing I could do would just say, if you're talking about the mainstream media, the best thing to do, like you say, is not watch them. Support alternative media like myself, Paul Joseph Watson, a lot of other people that are on the internet that do good work. That have, and the way the media is now, you could pretty much pick a la carte. You don't have to be plugged in to the matrix, so to speak, with your cable package. You can pretty much find whatever you want all over the world in a variety of languages. That's the best way to combat it, is just by opening yourself up to more information and finding more information. And as far as school is concerned, I think Betsy DeVos in there with Donald Trump as Secretary of Education, she wants to promote school choice, homeschool, private school, stuff like that, vouchers. That can also break apart the cabal that is the public school system. And once you're able to do that, you'll be able to kind of chip away at it and get education great again. So I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something for people to think about. I mean, they've been going at trying to get into academia for a long time.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Ben, but I appreciate the call. I'm going to get to a few more. Sure. I definitely appreciate you for your support and the call.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. 404, you're on the line. Who's speaking?
Hey, name's Robert. I'm coming from Atlanta. I have a few quick questions. First thing up, Anthony, do you have any future plans coming up on some radio shows or on some other people's podcasts, or maybe calling out to debate some Republicans or Democrats?
I'll answer your last question first and then go back. I would like to do some debating. I've not been invited to debate, but I'd love to do that. I don't think anybody can really do anything to me in a debate, because I got all kind of cards I can pull just from my identity. If you want to play that, you got the black guy, and you got him coming from a low income area, self-made, all of that. So I can pretty much pull all them cards if I want to, but I won't even really play dirty like that necessarily. But as far as podcasts, I've been on quite a few, but I like to be on some more. Shout out to Tree of Logic. Great woman. I was on a live interview with her. If you've not seen that, check her out. Go to her channel, subscribe to that. It's like an hour and change I did with her. Also, I did a spot with Talib Starks. If you don't know who Talib Starks is, he has a book about, black conservatism from his point of view, coming from Philly. He's on the network with Opie and Anthony. Not Opie and Anthony, but Opie. Anthony Cumia on the Compound Network. I think it's also where Gavin McInnes is. So he's on there. I did a spot with him. I've been on RT a few times, probably about 8 times. I've been on Tommy Loren, or I've been on her show once. Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. I've been on Libertarian podcast called Johnny Rocket Launchpad. I've been on a few. I don't want to skip anybody, but I've been on quite a few. I've been on O'Shea Duke Jackson. I've been on his channel, and I've also been featured on UTEP College Republicans, University of Texas El Paso. I did like a little interview with them for about an hour, but I like to do a lot more.
That's awesome. But is there anybody, like, for example, anybody who you really want to like link up with? I mean, I guess I was wrong about saying the word debate, but perhaps there's some Democrats, Republicans you just literally just want to like discuss with. Just follow up. Do you know? She's a starter. Her channel's named by My Name is Josephine.
Yes,
She's
I
a
know her.
gorgeous girl, Nigerian descent.
Yes, I know her. I know who she is. We've talked before. We may do something in the future. I know exactly who she is. I follow her on Twitter.
That's awesome.
Great girl. I definitely want to get on Dave Rubin. I definitely want to get on his show. I 100% want to do that. I think that'd be great. I saw the 2 he had with Larry Elder. Loved him. I like to be in Larry Elder's spot to answer a lot of the questions he answered, because Larry Elder answers questions from his perspective. He's like 65. I'm 32. So that's definitely a generation difference. I think it'd be interesting to see.
Wow, that is awesome. That's getting me so pumped, and I'm sure all the other guys are getting. All right, just one last, and I'm going to just hang up on this one. Have you heard? Just about a week ago or two, they were taking down a sculpture of Robert E. Lee somewhere outside Virginia. Just want to know your opinions about that, and thank you again.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you. I've not seen that, but I've seen some things like that around here. It's a statue not too far from where I'm at in Portsmouth, Virginia. It might be of Robert E. Lee, or it might be of somebody. I forget who it is, but they're trying to remove it. Nobody really cares, really. It's just kind of something people. It's a thing for people to get involved with. They're bored. They don't have anything else to do. It's like, okay, let's go take the statue down just for no other reason. But thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you again. Let's get to a few more here. Shout out to everybody in the building. Unknown number, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Keith from Junk Pile Video.
All right, Junk Pile Video. What's going on?
We live now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I want to talk a little bit about the movie Get Out. And
yes. I was waiting on this call. I was definitely waiting on it. So, what's your opinion about it, or have you seen it yet? I asked you that question first. Have you seen it?
I seen it last night, and I have to say it kind of reminds me of some 90s made movies that I can't recite right now. But I wasn't expecting much just because of the title, and it looked kind of campy from the posters. But I'm going to tell you, man, I think whoever wrote the movie, the script, put a lot of planning into it that was actually going to, make people think about not really, the trigger part of it, but I think just the story in general. I mean, it had a lot of comedy involved, but I really believe that it had something to say to the audience.
Yes. I mean, I think the way people will receive the movie depends upon their personal experiences, because my experience, having the black experience, like I said, and my reaction, it made me look at the movie just in a different kind of way than some would get it. Some looked at it as like this whole big thing about race and sending a message, but I didn't get that personally. To me, that was just like everyday life. Like the party scene. Oh man, I've been there. It was one situation. I'll tell you a quick story. I ain't gonna talk you to death, but I was at a party many years ago. It was me and the girl I was dating at the time. She was black, and she's my complexion, so she was obviously black. It wasn't like she was real light skin or something like that, but I digress. Now, we're just, around the party, we're chilling, and then it was a situation where one of the girls that was there, she was white. Everybody was white except for us. And then for some reason, they wanted to get my attention, or they wanted to tell somebody else to talk to me. I don't know why, but she said, "Hey, talk to the black." She was going to say talk to the. She was going to say
you're the odd guy out.
She was going to say talk to the black guy, but she caught herself. And I saw her, and then everybody got quiet. You could hear a pin drop. And I just like, nah, you good. Don't even worry about it, because I could tell that she was not trying to be offensive. She was not trying to be racist, but that's something that happens all the time. They kind of single you out and say certain things to you, not in the way of trying to be racist, but in the way of trying to make you feel comfortable. But it makes everybody awkward, and it's just kind of weird. So I related to that 100%.
I hear you. Yeah, I don't know the main character, his name. I've seen him in a couple other movies, but I think he did an awesome job in this movie. And I think this is going to help boost his career in the future with other movies. What do you think?
Are you talking about the main character?
Yes.
Yeah, his name is Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya, Kaluuya, if I'm not mistaken. He's from London or somewhere in England. of African descent, obviously. But yeah, he did a great job. What he did the best was his facial expression.
That's what I saw.
Yeah,
in the beginning. Yep.
Yeah, it was his face. That like he could pretty much tell the whole story without really talking. It was just the way he was looking, and the way he was looking, I felt it personally because that's kind of how I would look in that situation. If I didn't know what was going on, I'm kind of uneasy, but at the same time, I'm trying to be cool. That was the face he gave, and I definitely appreciated that as far as his acting was concerned.
Yeah, and even with the story, because I've seen so many movies, I kind of had the feeling that the daughter was luring him in, because throughout the whole movie, towards the end where she's trying to find the keys, I mean, to me, I just felt that she was just putting on an act for him, that she was on his side the whole time when he's trying to figure all this stuff out. And sure enough, when he found that box of photos, I mean, he put it all together, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, really, realistically, I could tell the whole story from the trailer, but I couldn't really tell the way the story was going to play out. That's why it was suspenseful for me. And I'm not sure if they did that on purpose or what, because I understand with trailers, you want to kind of entice the viewer to go see it by showing them how good the movie is, but at the same time, you want to get the movie away. I kind of knew where the movie was going to go, but I did not anticipate all the twists and turns. That's what added to the suspense for me.
Yeah, me too. That's about it. But anybody out there, we didn't really give out too much. If you haven't seen the movie, man, go check it out. It's worth your $11-12. I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. It was good talking to you.
All right. Same here. Thanks for the call.
You're welcome.
586 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey there. On chat, it's Briar Reed, but you can just call me Chris.
All right, Chris. What's going on?
I just wanted to get your opinion, with this Milo thing. I've noticed a trend. I talk to a lot of conservatives and noticed that my friends who are, really religiously motivated, Orthodox Christians or even pagans, seem to be more steadfast on core conservative and traditionalist, values, whereas people who are like lukewarm Christians, even people who are Christians who just don't really believe in the hard parts of the book, they seem to fail where other people wouldn't. And I wanted to ask you your opinion on spirituality and how that really goes into traditionalism, and then just give your opinion on it.
That's kind of a deep question. It does, it's kind of deep, but I answer the best I can. That does play a part in people's thought process a lot of time. If they're spiritual, they really want to, kind of adhere to the core tenets of what they think spirituality is. So I think that could definitely impact their point of view just on basic issues in everyday life, especially in politics, especially something like what Milo was talking about and what he was doing. One thing I saw was a lot of Christians that supported Milo before, then all of a sudden didn't when this whole sex thing came out. But I'm like, okay, I understand, but at the same time I don't, because it's like if you're Christian and you are not supporting him based on your Christianity, then you're kind of like picking and choosing,
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of my opinion. Yeah.
I agree 100%. But, with the Milo thing, at least from my point of view, from what I've heard, I know a lot of people are saying that major media outlets and stuff are taken out of context, but I listen to the videos and it sounds to me, he was proud about how, this pastor and him had sexual relations with each other and how it's permissible for an older man and a younger boy, essentially, to do that sort of thing. And I just don't think that conservatism as a policy, you try to have as big of a tent as you can and have lots of people in it, but you have to draw the line somewhere on what sort of behavior is acceptable and what's not.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Some people are trying to defend him, and they're like defending him at the same time, just letting go of all their values and make them conservative. You see, at a certain point, you got to be able to have some kind of values. You got to be able to, like you said, the tent can't be but so all encompassing. You can't just have everybody and anybody in there. Even if you want to forgive Milo for what he did or accept him still, you can't just ignore what he did there. You got to call him on it. You got to call him to task. It can't just be something that's just swept under the rug or made excuses for because people like him personally. I don't think that's right. It doesn't matter who you are or what you represent. You still should not be beyond reproach.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And thanks for your opinion, man. I'll be in the chat.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, bye.
All right. 304, West Virginia, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Chad here. I'm from West Virginia. I have to first of all say I appreciate that cup you're drinking out of there. Flying WV caught my eye right off the bat.
Yeah.
Mountaineer here.
Absolutely. Canal County here.
I just wanted to point out too about the media and everything, that there seems to be a lot of people that are actually still buying into it. And I know I tend to live in a bit of an echo chamber, with how, even if, you use Google News, it'll get used to your settings. And after a while, I realize that it's only the outlets that I really like to listen to are popping up. And so everyone's kind of guilty of the echo chamber. But, I do sports betting sometimes, and I go into one of those online sports books, and they actually have odds for if Trump is actually going to finish his first term. And right now, it's even odds for yes and no. And it blows my mind that someone could actually set those odds and have people betting on that, because it's just Donald Trump's never apologized for anything in his life. He's not going to apologize to the point where he steps down. So with all of this, I think the term fake news is a little extreme. I just think it's just dishonest or misleading or just hyperbolic news. And I know the public probably isn't educated enough to understand that, but do you agree to a point that really is just it would be better off if we all just got the raw data, listening to speeches, reading documents, rather than just any news outlet, positive or negative, with how we agree?
Well, I think it would be better if the populace was more educated in general, to be able to understand what's even being said to them when it's being said to them, to be able to decipher wormy words that are said by the mainstream media when they say certain things. This report says this, so-and-so reported this. When they say stuff like that, they don't really know if it's true or false. They're just reporting that a report was reported, but the general public does not know that. I think the term fake news makes sense for the average person. Like you said, the average person may not even understand anything beyond that. When you're talking about hyperbole, they don't even understand what that word is. So to say fake news, it's an easy way for the average person to understand what's going on, to basically convey the message that what you're hearing is not 100% true, and it's done in a way to deceive you. You see, so I think we got to just we got to communicate on basic terms, essentially.
Yeah, and I know I watch all of Sean Spicer's press conferences, and he had made a statement at one point, or was talking about the transgender bathroom issues being a state issue, and then I saw an article in the LA Times, and they had completely just twisted the headline and most of the article, and then of course down at the bottom, they have to rectify what they said and say, this is actually what was said. But most people just read headlines, and then the 1 out of 10 people that actually read the article are just going to believe what they want to believe. But anyway, I appreciate you taking my call. I enjoy watching your podcast. It's good for drive, or your videos. It's good for driving and listening to. So I appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, have a great night.
All right, same to you. Shout out to my man from West Virginia. I definitely I got the cup. I'm from Canal County, Rand University myself. So big up to you, man. All righty, let's go to my next one here. 301, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, good evening, Anthony. This is Kevin calling from DC.
Kevin, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. I kind of disagree with the previous caller talking about fake news. Personally, I don't think it's hyperbole. I mean, majority of those stories are actually fake news. I mean, the fact that you would try to report something that's actually not what it is, that to me is fake news,
Right. I think what he was saying was it's more nuanced than that, but I think what you're saying makes sense too. If it's a story that's not what it is and it's fake, but that's pretty much what I think about that.
Right. But anyway, I was just called to make a comment. I mean, we as conservatives, I mean, we're seeing what the left has done, what they could do, what they're capable of doing. So what can we as conservatives do to battle that? Just talking about it every day. I mean, yes, that can help, but what can we do to battle these leftists and liberals, Because, I mean, they seem very organized. I mean, you see how they plan those town hall meetings or all those protests. They're very organized. And I think we conservatives kind of lack in that area. So I think, I don't know, what do you think we should do?
Well, I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, as far as there's not many options. I'll put it to you that way. There's not many options. Okay, you can do the same thing they're doing and just play their game. You can do that. Or you can just combat it with the correct information and just not stoop to their level. That's pretty much your two options right there. So it's really just a matter of what you think is most effective. I think the most effective thing would be just to provide the correct information and not stoop to their level, because when people see them out there, when they see all this fake news, when they see them out there behaving just really crazy, when they see the organized riots, protests, town hall kerfuffles, when they see all that and they know that it's fake, it's being funded by people, it turns them off. So that right there is a tool to help our side. We could go in there and engage in the muck and the mire with them, but at the end of the day, what is that going to do? I mean, I don't understand. I don't know what that would do. We could do it, but what would the actual result be? So I think the best thing would be just to combat with proper information. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, actually, what I think now is I think Trump is giving us a good blueprint on how to, handle these people, I mean, he already kicked CNN out of the press conference and,
yes,
So I think Trump is giving us a good blueprint on how to deal with, all these leftists and, all these crazy people. But anyway, that's all I have to say for today. I'll be watching. I'm here with my wife. She sends her regards.
Shout out to the wife, and I definitely appreciate the call, man, as always.
All right, no problem.
All right, Dan, take care.
Take care.
All right. My phone lines are blowing up right now. Thank you all for calling. If you want to support the show, look under your name. There's a little $ right there. You can send a super chat. You can send any dollar amount you want, $1, $1 million, whatever you got in your pocket. Lent, I'll take it. You can do whatever you want to do. And you can also send a message. When you send a message, it'll remain at the top of the screen for a little while. It depends upon how much you send. That'll be the time that it'll be up there. And people can read that and you can say whatever you want. 586 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, it's Aztec.
Aztec, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing. Thanks for picking up my super secret line again on the red phone. I appreciate it.
All good.
All right. I want to talk to you about legalizing marijuana. Just give my spiel on it or whatever my opinion is. I believe that it should eventually be legal. And the reason is it's, well, first and foremost, like similar to drugs like Molly, which is ecstasy. A lot of the reason some of those drugs are dangerous is because they can't legally make them, and so they're not refined. People got to like cut corners and make it impure, and like the more pure they get, I don't want to say the better they are, but like the less of the more toxic effects are. But specifically to marijuana, I kind of look at it like this. Like alcohol the reason alcohol is legal is because right now I could pull you over in your car and say, you're going to either give, whether it's blood or the breathalyzer, and I can know the degree that you are affected, and they can put a number to that, a concrete thing. And the problem with marijuana is that right now, because it's illegal, because they're not trying to research it, there's no way to do that. Now, I look at it like this. If you or anyone else want to smoke marijuana in their house, to me, that should be like drinking. The issue becomes now, if, for example, one of my daughters got to go to the doctor and I get in there and my daughter has, if heaven forbid dies or has some, some thing happen, she loses a limb and they mess something up, find out that dude's high. Now, at what point can you say, did he smoke weed 2 days ago, 3 days ago, right now, right before walking in? And there's not much stuff that's available to be able to say, like, the degrees, you know what I'm saying, of the effects that person has. But I know some people who, similarly to alcohol, is the tolerance. So, one of my buddies, he's an Army veteran, he drinks a lot, his tolerance is high, so he can function more. And I know people who smoke weed, and it's the same thing. They're a lot more able to conduct themselves. You wouldn't know they were high. But again, the point becomes, do I want some cop pulling me over while he's, high or drunk? No. So what are your thoughts on that so far?
Okay. You kind of illustrated my point in the beginning there, because I don't know if I heard you correctly, but did you say that MDMA should be legal?
That one is I want to say yes, but
okay.
Again, go ahead.
So what is MDMA actually? Is that like an amphetamine?
I don't think that it's and I would have to look at the term. I'm mixing it's the gosh darn it, the downer one. It like in essence, and this is how, like, MDMA is more of a slippery slope. It's Molly or ecstasy, but what it does is lowers your inhibitions, and it's I look at it just like marijuana and just like alcohol. If there's a limit to what you can legally do, you can drink alcohol and die. You could take ecstasy, and what it does is lowers your inhibitions. And the reason I'm bringing this up, like MDMA specific, is I pay attention to a lot of veteran issues, and there's guys who have seen some really screwed up stuff from, like, Vietnam and Korea, who they buried and suppressed these things that psychologists can't get through. Well, what they do is they treat them with pure MDMA, and it lowers their inhibitions. It lets them access these memories that if they're not under the influence of this drug, they're mentally and physically doing everything they can do to suppress and bury it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you said it right there in the beginning, because that's exactly what I was talking about. That's actually the same drug I was thinking that would be next. Because, okay, you got weed. There's a taboo around that. It's illegal, but it's kind of legal. But it's still, like, not totally accepted as being a legal drug that you can just use recreationally. Now, if you get that to be recreational nationwide, or a big part of the nation, that won't be where it ends. Now, all you did was move the line that was right at weed over to MDMA and to amphetamines. Now, you're going to open up a whole can of worms. Now, you're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm responsible. I'm a good cook. I should be able to cook meth in my apartment where there's 20 other families at. You see?
Well,
because I'm not saying it's logical or it makes sense, but that argument will be made.
Well, and my argument there, and this is anecdotal first and foremost. Now, some of these things are different based on state by state. So, for example, I lived in California, and less people do weed and more people do cocaine. It's something out there. Here in Michigan, weed is a lot more predominant. It seems to be like the New York cocaine. In the bigger cities, the faster, I guess, the newer cities and all that stuff, cocaine is the thing. It is more predominant than marijuana. But so in Michigan, I don't. Now, granted, I'm not a weed head by any means, like even remotely, but I know several people who smoke weed. And I know that not one of them, and they're going on, 30s and 40s and 50s now. I don't know one of them who does cocaine,
but see,
that's
not the issue. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up a little bit because I gotta get to a lot more calls.
I got you.
That's not even the issue. I'm not even really somebody that says weed is harmful. But all I'm saying is I'm thinking the bigger issue, the bigger picture is not even about weed itself. It's about the line that we draw as a society on certain drugs. Right now, it's at weed. Once you say that weed is cool and it's no longer a taboo, all you're going to do is move that line over. Now, what's the next drug? So you had a buffer zone of weed until the next drug, and now you're going to be right at MDMA. Now, you're going to have town hall debates. Should I be able to cook meth? Meth has medicinal properties because you're talking about amphetamines. You see, I'm thinking steps ahead, but I'll leave it at that, man. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. I'll be talking to you soon. Take it easy.
All right then.
Bye.
Shout out to my man Azeth, man. I got the calls are jumping right now. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Turn speakers down, please.
Hey, how you doing, Anthony? It's Jared from Vermont.
All right, Jared from Vermont. What's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. I just had a quick thing to say about Milo, and then I wanted to talk about Europe. The thing about Milo is I don't know if you might have mentioned it earlier in the stream, but if you actually watched the Drunken Peasants podcast where Milo made those comments and you listen to the entire thing in context, the thing that I got from it was that he was talking about his own personal experience. He wasn't saying like that pedophilia and whatnot's okay. While I do feel he should be held responsible for what he says on like a public forum, I just think that the fact being portrayed as someone that condones pedophilia, I think is what it's being taken too far. But I don't have an objection about him being taken off of CPAC, but I do have an objection about him being portrayed as a person that condones pedophilia. But that was just my thoughts on that. But the thing I wanted to talk about was Europe, because aside from Trump's comments where he said that, you know, he was talking about the Fox News report of what's going on in Sweden, and then, you know, then that one guy went on CNN and brought up all those numbers from Brawl, like rapes up 50%, murders up 80%. Yeah. But and then France is still having riots today. I watched a video on RT today about the riots that are going on in France, and it's getting crazy. But the thing that I'm really thinking about is there's so many factors going on in Europe right now. Like, you have Russia's economy is on the verge of collapsing. France is on the verge of civil unrest. Sweden's on the verge of civil unrest. You know, all these very essential countries to the European Union and to NATO are collapsing, and they're collapsing from the inside out. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, you know, them being attacked by another country, because that's something we could actually implement policies to do something about. But since it's happening inside their own countries, we kind of just have to sit back and watch. And while it's great Trump's focusing on America, the negative side effect of that is he's probably not going to pay too much money. He's going to let those countries do what they want to do. But the thing that worries me is that a year from now, you know, maybe not even a year from now, maybe a couple months from now, one of those countries is just going to go red. Like, you know, we're going to turn on the news and we're going to see, like, you know, state of emergency has been declared across the entire country. It's out of control. Everything's going haywire. And I feel like, I don't know, something needs to be done about them, because if they destabilize, if Europe destabilizes, it's going to affect everybody. And it's you know, we're going to see those things happening over here. You know, immigration in the United States is going to increase. Our goods, our domestic goods that we import from Europe are going to skyrocket. Our economy is going to be affected by it.
Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut in here. I think that there's only so much you can do. And shout out to my European people in the chat. You know, I want you guys to chime in as well, because at the end of the day, I think that those countries being sovereign, they got to be able to decide their own fate.
Absolutely.
The thing about Europe is that a lot of the migration problem happens because of their politicians. They're allowing it to happen, because it's not all of Europe that has that problem. I mean, realistically, Russia, where the majority of the population is, that's pretty much in Europe. You understand? I mean, like Crimea, that's Russia, that's in Europe. The far western part, you're talking about St. Petersburg, Moscow, that's pretty much Europe. So they don't have the problem with the migration crisis. Neither does like the Baltic states, as far as I know. Ukraine, obviously, not even Bulgaria, Poland.
Not to interrupt you, Russia's problem isn't so much immigration as it is their economy. Russia's economy is, from what I've heard, is that Russia's economy is basically being held together by their fossil fuel exports.
Well, that's a whole different issue, because you're talking about sanctions that devalue the ruble, but that's a whole different story, and I digress. But talking about just straight immigration and the migration problem, that's not all countries in Europe. So at the end of the day, to fix that particular problem, it rests on the shoulders of the politicians. It's not too much we can do over here in the States, but just kind of encourage an environment to where We do that same thing over here, and hopefully it will influence them. But we can't go over there and say, hey, you guys do what we say or else. I don't think that's right.
No, I didn't. I wasn't necessarily proposing that, but you would think that there might be some type of diplomatic action that we could take to try to keep them from. Well, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if I'll jump off the call here so you can get to other callers? But what do you think would happen if Europe destabilized, or at least if it just continues to go down the path that it's going now to the point where it could destabilize? But and I'll let you go so that way you can get to other callers. Thanks for taking my call, Anthony.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it. All right. To answer his question, Europe has a lot of problems, and you can almost say they're already stabilized right now. Many countries in Europe, not all of Europe, but it'll definitely impact the world in a negative way. But what are you going to do? You know, let's get to a few more calls here. Hold on. 804. 804. I don't know what happened. I picked up and you hung up right away. 817. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, Anthony. This is Zollmeister, and I was just, not to waste your time, but I was just wondering, what are you drinking out of that Virginia cup that you got?
Oh, West Virginia. This is I had some coconut water in here.
Coconut water? What's that?
It's coconut water.
I never had that.
Yeah, go to your local grocery store and get some. It's pretty good. Have it cold.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Nice. Looks like you're drinking coffee, but oh well. All right, dude.
All right. That's it. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Shout out to the curious caller. All righty. Unknown number. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello. How you doing? My name's Zabi.
All right. Where you calling from?
I'm actually calling from Chile. I'm an American expat. I'm an American expat living in South America. I've been here for the past 13 years.
Okay.
And no. The thing is, I have a different point of view just because I have to actually seek out my brainwashing. No, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah, I could have CNN, but I really don't care to, so I just watch a lot of commentary. And why I wanted, you're a smart cat. I wanted to get your opinion on what's happening, and you were talking about what's happening in Europe. Now the thing is, I don't think that Merkel and the Western European countries are letting this happen. I think they're making it happen. And in other words, like the alternative narrative is, they just want a virtue signal, and if we want to break that down, that just basically means they just want to seem loving. I don't think that Angela Merkel gives a flying, about appearing loving. I think that's for public consumption. I think maybe the people who eat it up care about being perceived as such. But I don't think Merkel cares about appearing loving. History is not going to vindicate her, and I think she knows it.
So what is her intention?
So I would ask. That's what I would ask. Well, as far as I can tell, what's going on, I think the intention is to create a hard right shift.
But why would that have to happen?
Literally, what I see happening, I'm assuming it's on purpose, because I really don't buy this, they want a virtue signal. That people want a virtue signal. There's bigger stuff going on. I think they're trying to set up a new Hitler.
Oh,
this
God.
Is the Fourth Reich.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Well,
I would like for you.
Is it,
I would like for you to explain.
Well, that's what's happening. If Sweden is getting raped, what's happening is militias are being set up. They want people to take matters into their own hands.
Okay,
and they're basing it totally on race. In other words, look, if you want to attack the disease, you attack the root. Why are they being shipped in there? Right? In the alternative media, it's fairly widely known. Okay, George Soros is doing it. Why? And why is Merkel and why is Brussels? Why is the European power elite going along with it? They're being shipped in. It's not that they're making their way there. They're shipping in. Well, they're shipping in an army.
Okay,
and it's fairly obvious to any. Well, they're not shipping in families. You see pictures of refugees. They're looking for families. Why are they shipping in an army? And I think it's to create a backlash.
Okay.
Now, why do they want to create this backlash? That I don't know.
That's the question. I mean, because if you're going to have that the hypothesis, that kind of line of thinking, I think you need to have a beginning, like, okay, they're doing this, but it needs to also be an ending, because, pardon me, I don't really see a purpose. Because why would you stabilize your own country with refugees? If you want to create a new Hitler, that's a whole story right there that I don't think it's really appropriate to say Hitler. I say just more
Fourth Reich, whatever you want to say. If an extreme right wing, well, listen to me, extreme right wing based on white nationalism.
That ain't.
Now here's the.
Oh boy.
No, that what they're doing is they're destroying white culture. That's what they're doing. And
it's
I'm not white. Don't get me wrong. I'm black and Puerto Rican living in South America. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that that's what it looks like.
But
looks like.
But why? Because like the only reason that they would try to install anybody that was like, like a totalitarian type person is because of the refugees. But they're shipping in the refugees, and that's the problem is the refugees. So without the refugees, then there would be no need to do that. So why
problem reaction solution? So the problem is refugees, right? And the reaction is what we're seeing now. And then what's going to be the solution, the synthesis of that? I'm thinking a global totalitarian state, I guess.
I don't know.
The thing is, like, I really feel like alternative media is kind of taking the bait. I don't know if that makes any sense. I feel like okay, if you look back at Hillary was a feint. You know what I mean?
She was
like, oh, I'm gonna hit you like a feint. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you like this. You know, like in a fight where you would feint, where you would fake that you're gonna hit somebody in a certain way.
I got you.
And she was right. But why do you want someone to feint? So they can come into the uppercut, right? So you feint the jab, so they come into the uppercut, right? I don't know. The thing is, I feel like this whole narrative, both on the mainstream media and the alternative media, is too cut and dry. It's too superficial. You know what I mean?
I got you on that. I gotta get to a few more calls. I don't mean to cut you off, but
okay. Listen. Thank you so much. I've been with you since 10,000 subs. Just so you know, and I really do appreciate your point of view and your do me one favor, just one favor. I haven't heard you say it in a while. Just say kerfuffle. Come on.
All right.
Just weave it into a sentence.
Kerfuffle, and I digress.
You rock.
To the next call.
You're
Appreciate it, man.
Peace.
All right, Dan. That's an interesting point of view, but I think we need to have like a conclusion to that. It's like, okay, what would be the purpose? Is it because of war? I see some of y'all in the chat said it's because of war, it's because of money. That's possible. You try to like destabilize a region for money, the same kind of thing they're doing over there in the Middle East and Syria. That could be similar to what's going on in Germany, but it's their country's own leaders doing it. With Syria, it's external forces doing it. It's not the actual leaders of the country. But that is an interesting point of view to take. Shout out to my man that called from Chile, expat of the USA. 205, you know line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, man, what's up? My name is Chris. I'm out of Alabama.
All right, Chris from Alabama. What's going on?
Not much, man. I just had a question for you. With everything going on right now, you notice how polarized everything is, especially since after the election. I mean, everyone's just getting in their bubble to where they get their news sources from one type of source, and they're kind of like going online to find things that adapt to the narrative that they want to write. And even though us on the right, usually we have the facts to back it up, it just kind of forces the left to double down. So my question is, I kind of think that the left is either going to die or adapt to what's going on. So either they have to face the facts, face the music with what's happening, or somebody else is going to come in the forefront. Libertarians might shine. I don't know. I just want to see your opinion on that.
Okay, so what's the actual question? You're talking about political parties and how they're like, I kind of missed it there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little confusing, but basically, I feel like the left is the way they're doubling down with all their issues.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to die or adapt.
Yeah.
So either they're going to keep doubling down to the point to where no one respects them whatsoever, to where no one can listen to any of the crap they have to say, or eventually someone else is going to fill that void. You know what I mean?
Well,
I just want to see what your thoughts were.
I think that we got a long way to go before that is actually a question, because let's not forget Hillary Clinton won the popular vote.
Yeah,
she won the popular vote, but it's like they're becoming more isolated into their own islands, into their own little enclaves of liberalism. And the thing about it is that those enclaves are not small, so they still pretty much have a big power base. There's still a lot of Americans that want to follow that line of thinking, so I think we're a long way from that. They think that if they double down, like their plan is just to bring in more people from outside, more immigrants, more illegals, people that will be on their side. That's their plan. And also to have the country be in a state to where they need the left. So that's their plan. If they're successful, then they'll still be in power. And even if they're not, they still got a pretty big base that's been with them for a long time. So I don't think they'll pretty much fade away into obscurity, but maybe nationally they will be. But I don't think there's anything they can do to fix that. But I don't know about libertarians coming up, because you got to be able to build as a libertarian
have
party.
A base from it.
You got to have a base,
exactly.
Because right now a guy like Gary Johnson, what is Aleppo? That won't get it done. That's not going to get it done.
Yeah, I don't think he's a real libertarian either.
He's
so.
not.
Yeah.
His man Bill Weld, his vice presidential pick, was in the CFR. He's pretty much a Democrat himself, or Republican, neocon, whatever you want to call him. He's not even really. They're just money men. So you got to be able to have true blue people that are of a certain ideology to fit. And until you have that, you're not going to be able to build anything. So I think it'll still pretty much be the two-party dynamic for the foreseeable future, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, do you think that the left is going to keep putting that nail in the coffin for themselves and keep hanging themselves with what they're doing and what they're saying? Or, I mean, what do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, like I say, they still got a pretty big base, so they are going to keep doing the same thing. It looks like to us they're hanging themselves, but at the same time, their base is still pretty rabid and pretty loyal. I think they'll still be able to keep their strongholds in the local areas, the states and whatnot, but nationally, if there's so many of us that are kind of disgusted by the behavior or just like red pill, so to speak, they won't be able to achieve anything nationally. But at the same time, there won't be anybody else outside of the two-party system to come and overtake them. They'll still be, it'll be 1A, 1AB.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Love your stuff. Keep doing it.
Thank you for the call, man, and the support. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, take care.
All right, same to you. Shout out to all the callers. A lot of smart commentary from my callers here tonight. My phone line is blowing up off the hook. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Shout out to everybody that called so far. I love all of y'all. 313, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, it's Ramon again. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Happy weekend.
Hey, man, everything's smooth over here, man. Talking to y'all, really enjoying it.
I'm calling to react to the last caller about the libertarians. I didn't catch the whole thing. I'm personally an independent, but I agree with a lot of libertarian ideas, also conservative ideas. And there's a candidate, and I want to ask if you want to maybe help me with this. There's a candidate in New York State. I live in Ohio, so I can't vote in that election. But there's a guy who wants to run for governor there. His name is Larry Sharp. I can send you some information on him. Maybe we could, and he actually responds very well to posts, so you can get a reaction for him. And I think that in 2018 he's going to run for governor. And in New York State, they don't really have an opposition. The Republican Party is like Democrats light over there. And I think that people do need more options. And if you want, I want to set up maybe back and forth between you. If you like it, maybe you can, make a video segment with him or something, or interview him, ask him some questions. And I know you have a lot of listeners in that state. There was a lady from Queens who called a few times. So, I mean, if you're up with the idea, maybe we can discuss it. And, if not, maybe you should just check out some of his videos or something.
Well, before I say anything on air, just send me some information so I can see kind of what's going on. And then, if I like what's happening, if I can get something done, I'll take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it to you, and you can see how interested you are or not.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Anthony. I got to run, but it's been great watching your show, and good luck. And I hope you get an even larger audience and decide to take this even further.
Thank you for the call and the support, man, as always.
All right, have a good night.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
804, you're on the line. Who's speaking?
Yes, my name is Bob from Virginia.
All right, Bob from Virginia. What's going on?
Do you know who George Soros is?
Yes, I do.
Now, the college that Milo was supposed to have that speech, and he was unable because of the protesters. George Soros' son attends that college, doesn't he?
I don't know.
Do you think part of the reason he had so many problems was because of him?
Well, I mean, I think that you could be part of it, yes, but I can't really confirm or deny that. But I know that George Soros and other people are involved with that kind of action, that kind of subversive action towards conservatives. But a lot of what Milo experiences, he experiences all across the nation at different colleges, just because of what he does. Like, his intended purpose is to be a provocateur. That's what he does. So he'll get that reaction regardless in many places, but it could be heightened because of people like George Soros.
Why don't more people bring light to George Soros on media?
They don't, not on mainstream media. We do a lot here on the alternative media, but not in mainstream. But I think at the same time, I think he's kind of used as a fall guy because he does have some proverbial blood on his hands. But at the same time, there are a lot of other people out there that nobody talks about. People that got the same kind of money he does, do the same thing he does, or even worse, that nobody talks about and nobody knows. You might see them on TV right next to a president and have no idea who they are.
Do you think that George Soros or Milo is going to recover from what happened?
I think he'll be fine because he still has a big fan base. It's just like the same thing that happened to Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. I mean, it was a pretty brutal beating, in my humble opinion. During the campaign, they tried to really attack us on the right, but it really backfired on them. But you see how rabid and just vicious her supporters are for her still. So I think in a different way, Milo has some of that same kind of support, where it's like, it doesn't matter that he took a pretty big L or a loss here. He'll still be okay at the end.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it. .609, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Caitlin from Jersey.
Caitlin from Jersey. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Big fan of you. I like what you're doing, alternative media. Just want to talk about Milo.
Yes.
So, I'm a Rutgers alumni, and I think he's great, like what he's doing. But, he's like, I feel like people take like way, way too far. His opposers. I don't know if you saw the video. Like all the feminazis, like putting the blood all over themselves.
Yes, I saw that. That was nasty.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like crazy. Really, I just wanted to talk about like the bubble people live in, how it's like crazy. I grew up with the internet. I don't know how it was, without it. But just like it's crazy what people believe, like if you ever watch like CNN and then you switch back to like Fox News, it's like literally night and day. And I don't know, it just scares me to think if there weren't, outlets like your show or like anything else, like how people got their information, like if it was 20 years ago, like how things would be, like I feel like Trump would not be president, or it's just scary to think if independent media did not exist.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your point you're making. What if not for, what if independent media did not exist for what we do? I mean, that's a good question. And I think that in years past, it was not as easy to disseminate false information. So you had to take that into consideration as well. You didn't have, see, the internet is a two-way street. It's easy to disseminate the correct information, alternative media, but it's also easy to disseminate false information, all this fake news that comes from the left. So in years past,
overload, it's overload.
In years past, it was not so easy to, just get a fake story out there, and so many fake stories and such a quick onslaught like that.
True. Yeah, true. It's like people are like their own like independent reporters. You got to do like, extensive research. Really, I'm just a fan of Milo because, I was a Bernie supporter and didn't ever think I would ever vote Republican, ever. But yeah, totally voted for Trump just from doing my own research, like tons of research. So I'm just grateful for, people like him.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's all I got to say.
Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling. Hopefully you stick around in the chat if you're able to.
All right. Take care.
All right. Same to you.
Bye.
Shout out to all the callers. I definitely appreciate you guys. If you like what you've been hearing so far, give me some ducats in the bucket. You can go to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/Anthony B. Logan. That's ANTHONY. The letter B, LOGAN. I'll paste the link in the box, in the chat box. Also, you can submit a super chat. That's a new feature I have. I just got it last week. Underneath your name in the chat, there's like a little $ right there. You can click on that, send super chat. You can send a message. You can also send whatever kind of dollar amount you want. $1, $1 million is lent in your pocket. I'll take it all. And according to the amount of money that you spend, you'll be able to see your message up there, pinned to the top of the chat for a while, and people can click on it and see whatever you say. So shout out to all the callers and the supporters that have donated so far. I definitely appreciate y'all. Alrighty, let's go. Let me see here. My phone lines are lit up. Y'all bear with me. 214, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony.
What's going on? Who am I speaking to?
My name is Robert. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
All right.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you a question. I am atheist, and I consider myself conservative, I guess, but I wasn't a while ago. I heard you wanted to maybe have a conversation with Dave Rubin.
Yes.
And that got me wondered if you were to have that conversation and you were having with him a conversation on the topic of atheism and conservatism, what do you think the Republican Party needs to do to bring more atheists to their side?
So you think the right should bring more atheists to their side, or how could they do that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's basically what I'm asking.
I don't know, because I don't think atheism is necessarily a political issue. The best way to get anybody to come over to the right would be just to hit them with some solid information, some truth. And if they appreciate the truth for what it is, then they'll come over. If they don't like the truth for what it is, if they prefer the leftist ideology more, then they'll stay over there. One thing I'll say that you might be kind of getting at here is that you have a lot of religious people on the right, but I don't think there's that many people like it was in the past. In years past, the right was very religious, or you had a big religious part of the right. But that's not so much the case anymore, especially with CPAC. If you've seen that, shout out to Martika in the chat, or Martina, pardon me, Martina. You were at CPAC and you saw a bunch of people, talk to Nigel Farage, people like that. Those individuals are not necessarily religious. If you look at some of the big figures, they're not really religious. So if you just appeal to them in a common sense kind of way and leave religion out of it, you'd be able to get them.
Yeah, I think even Trump isn't that religious either, and that's probably why I ended up voting for him. And I don't think it would have been the case if, for example, the vice president would have been in that position instead of Trump. I mean, I wouldn't have voted for him because I think he has a very strong religious background, and he puts that very strongly as a facade for him. And that kind of thing throws me off a little bit, to be honest. But Trump, on the other side, he doesn't put that facade.
Right.
And I just see him, and I just hear his facts, like you said. Just listen to the facts.
See, that's why Ted Cruz didn't win, because he tried to put that religious stuff first, and his personality just was kind of off-putting. But Trump didn't have that. Trump is like the way of the future, where it's not you don't have to put religion. You don't got to wear it on your sleeve. You can just be a normal person and talk about issues without making it be so much about a moral, religious kind of thing intertwined with each other.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't see why the left now wants to embrace Islamic ideology in such a way. If they see other countries where Islam is the majority, they basically crush everyone else. And that is a fact, but most people don't want to see it. And I think the left only cares about minorities, and they see Muslims as minorities, and that's the only thing they care, but they don't see past that.
I mean,
anyway,
I agree with you. But I'm going to get to a few more calls, man. I appreciate the call. That was definitely a great question about atheism and conservatism.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Shout out to all the callers. It's not difficult being a one-man gang. You know, you got guys like Rush Limbaugh, Steve Harvey, etc. They got a whole big squad behind them taking the calls, doing everything else. But, hey, I love doing it. I look forward to it every week. And matter of fact, I may do more than one show in the week. If I got people that are in different time zones and whatnot, you let me know in the box what would be a good time and day for me to do a live show for you. As long as I got people that are in Europe, people in Australia, people all over the world, South America, Africa. So you guys let me know when's the best time for you to do a live show. All right. 717, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 717. All right, you gotta be ready now. Don't get cold feet. You gotta chop. Unknown number. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Matter of fact, I may do more than one.
Unknown number.
In the week. I got people that are in different time zones and whatnot. You let me know.
Oh God, you guys gotta be ready. you gotta be attentive. You gotta be right here with the phone. So when I call you, you're ready. You're ready to rock. 951. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, I'm Patrick from California.
Patrick from California. What's going on?
Hey, I just want to thank you for doing a good job waking people up and stuff.
I appreciate the kind words.
Hey, what do you think about what's going on in California with Mr. Brown?
Well, be more specific, please.
Oh, he's still passing the anti-gun laws and going pretty insane with that type of stuff.
I mean, if you're ever in California, man, I feel for you. I know how it is over there. It's really unfortunate that he's doing that. I really don't understand what's the purpose. I think in the future, just as an aside, I think California may break up because it's big. It's too big, and a lot of the rules they're passing may be things that certain people in certain places want. San Francisco, LA, but not the rest of the actual state, i.e., like Jefferson area. It's just different parts of the region of the state that are it's regional differences that they don't want it. But I'm not really sure what to do with the governor there. I mean, I really don't know. I think he needs to be voted out. I definitely would say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's passed some stuff that has made me, as well as some people I know, actually have to face litigation and hire lawyers and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's really unfortunate.
But yeah, thanks for doing what you're doing, and I have friends overseas that watch your channel. It's translated into Russian and German as well, I think.
Oh wow, that's good. So hopefully, I speak well enough for the auto captions to pick it up. So that's definitely something good to hear.
All right. Well, it's nice talking to you.
All right, same to you, man. Appreciate the call.
Uh-huh. All right. Bye.
Yeah, I'm sorry to all my California viewers. You know, I know it's tough being over there. 347, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony, it's Mike from Queens.
Mike from Queens. What's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. How you feeling? A little under the weather today.
Oh, everything's good over here, man. Sorry that you're under the weather.
That's all right. You know, go to the doctor, get some antibiotics, and good to go.
Absolutely.
Hey, I wanted to talk about the immigration and whatnot.
Alrighty.
If you want to cover that, but you know, this is crazy what's going on with the immigration and how the media is just blowing up. You know, they're blowing up. You know, what the ICE agents are going in. They make it sound like they're just ripping people out of their homes. You know, without proper documentation or not, and it's a total farce. I mean, they're enforcing laws that are on the books, and you know what? If you're in this country illegally, that's it. You're here illegally. I'm sorry.
100%.
You know, I don't know if you've seen UNICEF now. It's been running a commercial. I mean, it's been running up here in the New York area on the TV stations up here where they show this guy and this old man, this young kid and an old man on a boat talking about how they survived, 6 days on the water or whatever, and they came to America as refugees. You know, they're trying to, get tea-jerkers, as they would say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, it's just people. You're just trying to garner sympathy, trying to make us feel bad, and trying to guilt us into doing certain things. I don't like that. You know, I'd rather you just be honest and tell me what's really going on. Don't try to guilt me into it. Don't try to play my emotions. That's really just a kind of a dirty way to go about getting political goals met.
Yeah, it's all lowballing, and I mean, it's uncalled for. I mean, there's a reason. Like I said, we have laws on the books, and these people, they got to come here, the right way. I mean, even what's crazy too, like last year, they were letting people. What sane nation lets people into this country with the Zika virus?
Right.
Exactly. It's the same thing too. I mean, you look at, years ago, there were people that, like the diseases that we eradicated, or pretty much eradicated, like 100, within the last 100 years. You got people coming in now from these third world hellholes, and they're bringing these diseases in, and what do we have to go about eradicating them again? Use an example. You look in the movie, you look in The Godfather, when Vito Corleone comes over from Sicily. They didn't let him through because he was quarantined because he had some kind of disease.
Right.
Now they just let these people come through with Zika. I mean, what is, when do they stop this nonsense?
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of the refugees. That's a very important point you brought up. A lot of them have tuberculosis, smallpox, all kinds of stuff that we kind of take for granted that we don't have over here in the USA. We don't think about smallpox anymore, or cholera, diphtheria, all kind of like Oregon Trail video game kind of stuff. We don't think about that kind of stuff, but then when they bring it, now all of a sudden you got a 5-year-old in the hospital with a crazy rash and they don't know what it is. And now all of a sudden you want to ring the alarm, but all of that could have been prevented if you just understand what's going on in the world.
Yeah, and exactly. And, on top of worrying about these people, if they're going to come over here and blow us up, you got to worry about them bringing in diseases.
Right, exactly. It's bioterrorism.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And you know what? We could thank the liberals. And then when I told you a few weeks ago, liberalism is a mental disorder, I'm changing that. Liberalism is a cancer. It's basically a cancer now.
Yes.
And just another thing before I let you get off. I don't know if you listen to Michael Savage.
I've heard him occasionally, but I don't listen to too many political podcasts too much nowadays because it kind of interferes with me. But I am familiar with him. Yes.
All right. He just won an award or whatever for the National Radio Hall of Fame. I think he's one of the best in the conservative conservative movement. And on his show yesterday, he was talking about all the subversive organizations like the ACLU, CARE, all the Soros-funded groups, about getting a list together and possibly getting it to Trump's people and having investigating all these people, kind of like what happened in the 50s with Joe McCarthy when they had the UAC, when he had the UAC hearings. And, it's kind of funny. They gave Senator Joe McCarthy a hard time during that era, and I believe it was 35 or 40 years later they published these papers called the Verona Papers, where in those papers it basically stated that 90% of the people that McCarthy was investigating, he was investigating communists that were in Hollywood, communists that had infiltrated the U.S. government. He basically was vindicated because roughly about 90% of those people that he was going after were found to be communist sympathizers.
Okay. So what the investigation did yield some actual fruit that was able to be brought to justice.
Yeah, Savage brought this all up on his show on Friday, and he's talking about putting this list together, and I think that'll be awesome. I mean, these people have been getting away with murder for far too long.
Absolutely. I definitely look forward to seeing something like that happen, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Anthony, I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a good night.
All right, same to you. All right, you guys, I'm going to take a quick break here, about 2 minutes. Do not go anywhere. Stay right in your seat. I'm going to play you some music. A lot of you guys have sent me music before on my website, anthonyblogan.com/contact, but some of it has copyright on it, so I can't play it. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to play my tried and true thing from my man, Sonny Shoka. And I try to put a link to his page in the box. I'll play that for about 2 minutes. You guys keep calling. I will be back. I'm going to get some more coconut water, whatever that is, and I'll be right back. I'll probably be back for I'll probably do like another hour or so of phone calls and conversation. So y'all stay tuned. I'm back. All right, back in the building. Thank y'all for waiting and not leaving. 504, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, Joe.
All right, Joe, what's going on?
How you doing, Anthony?
Everything's good.
You're doing a great job. Listen, I called. I want to discuss this transgender kerfuffle, to use one of your favorite phrases, terms. First of all, well, at the root of it, I think this is basically part of the less insidious plot to destroy Western civilization. And I've got a couple of points which I think prove my thesis here. First of all, it's an attempt to destroy language. If you destroy language, you destroy the culture. And here's why it destroys language. They use the word gender. Gender is an incorrect term. People do not have gender. Gender applies to grammar. In other words, a pronoun has gender, like he, she. People do not have a gender. Male is sex. Female is sex. It is not a gender. Okay, so you're destroying the language there, and you're creating confusion. And creating confusion is what the left always tries to do. That's another way to destroy Western civilization. So you're destroying, you're creating confusion, and you're destroying order. You're destroying that there's any sense of order in the universe. If you take order out of the universe, and in this case, I mean, the left does this with everything, but in this case, you're saying there's no male, there's no female. I mean, it's a scientific fact. There can only be two sexes. It's a biological fact. You know, this nonsense where there's multiple genders. I heard somebody list 33 different genders. I mean, it's gone way past being absurd. It's just absolutely insane. And finally, what that brings back to, what the left is ultimately trying to do, is destroy a belief in God. Because if you have God, you have order, you have civilization, you have right and wrong, you have a lack of confusion. And that's what the left is ultimately trying to do. So, thanks for listening. You're a great listener. Now I want to hear you. I want to hear your reaction to that.
Well, I think that's definitely a great way to look at it. That's definitely a pretty intelligent way to look at it. They're trying to. It's like what I was saying before. It's like at a certain point, when does there just not have it? When there is like when do we have no gender at all, or it's just whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, you can do it, and it creates confusion.
Well, that's what they're going for.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking. It's just like, well, you can just do whatever you want, and it's a slippery slope. I saw this story about this guy, and you probably saw it as well. He had a bunch of kids. He was like a middle-aged guy. He decided he wanted to be a little girl now.
Mm-hmm.
This dude is built like a football player, big as a house.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he decides he wants to put on a dress, pigtails, and everything else. And the sick part is that he has parents that treat him like a baby. And, of course, there's some sexual stuff going on there, too. So if you can be a 50-year-old man pretending to be a 6-year-old girl and you get adults that are having sex with you, at what point do you have a real girl that's actually that age doing the same thing? That's where they're going with it, to where you can pretty much do whatever you want. And it's really disgusting, actually.
Well, that's the key. You said it right there. You can do anything you want. That is what the left is going for.
Right.
You know, and I don't know what you probably don't want to get into this. I don't know what your religious beliefs are. I've heard you talk about it a little bit. If you get a chance, now I'm not Jewish, but there's a guy I really think you'd enjoy seeing. He's got a channel on YouTube. It's called Torah Thinking, and it's a rabbi. The guy's name is Rav Mendel Kessin, and he is absolutely brilliant. Not only does he talk about the Bible and history, and he's extremely knowledgeable, he talks about current events. And he predicted a year and a half ago Trump was going to win the election. And he gives all these reasons about why he did. And he's very knowledgeable about current events and world politics. He talks about Putin. He talks about Israel, obviously. He'd be really I really think you'd enjoy listening to him. Anyway, one point he made is he explains what the left is. And he says, what is the left really is the people that hate God. They do anything they want to do, which is exactly what you said. And that is what the left is going for. They want there to be absolutely no order. If you have no order, you have no civilization. And that's what they're trying to. George Soros has said that his ultimate goal was to destroy the United States. And he's not the only one. I mean, all the global elitists basically want to do that. They want to destroy order and create anarchy and chaos, and they think they will be able to control things if they're able to do that.
That's a
but
great
that
point.
is why.
That's a great point you made there, but I got to get to a few more calls. I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling.
Great, Anthony. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Shout out to all the callers. You guys are very intelligent. If you don't know who I am, if you don't know what you're watching, this is ABL Live. My name is Anthony Brown Logan. I do this show every Saturday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do another one. I was doing Facebook Live stuff every Friday at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, but I don't know what happened to Facebook. I can't do it anymore. When I try to do it, my audio does not sound good at all. You can't hear it until after it posts, which defeats the purpose of having the live stream. So I do another one here on YouTube eventually. I know a lot of you guys are in different time zones. You guys let me know in the chat box what's the best time for you. And I'm going to get to a few more calls. Thank you all for being here for as long as you have. Definitely appreciate you. We got 232 live in the building watching me. Thank you all for being here. And 315, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Turn your speakers down, please.
Anthony, how you doing?
Well, how about yourself?
Not too bad. Wow, it's been pretty difficult to get in touch with you. I guess your success is growing, my friend. I guess you're probably trying to wrap up soon. I just wanted to point your viewers. I don't know if you yourself are familiar with a guy called Jordan Peterson.
That name sounds familiar. I'm not quite sure who that is, though.
He's a professor in UT, University of Toronto, and he's gained some notoriety because he's basically rejecting these gender pronouns, and they're passing some draconian laws up in Canada, and he's a professor that's trying to resist it. So I wanted to point your viewers to a debate between another guy you may or may not be familiar, Sam Harris. So if you look up on YouTube, Sam Harris, I'll say it slowly so your viewers can do it. Sam Harris versus Jordan Peterson, quote, what is true, unquote, 2017. So they touched on a topic. I mean, these are two very, very intelligent guys, and I'll be honest, they blow my intellect away. I mean, it's a deep listen. But they got hung up. These two intelligent guys got hung up on what is true. And it brought me to something that I think is relevant to your topic. If you have a moment, I can read something for you that basically I wrote a while ago. And I think this is the case of left versus right, the right, whatever you want to call it, conservative versus liberal. In my view, and this may peeve off a few people on either side about what is right, what is wrong. So to me, something that is right is something that's inherent, okay? It has a basis in nature or reality or quote-unquote truth. You may want to call that science, okay? Okay, but it is not created or caused by man or any other species, okay? That's what true is, okay? And you can call this, common law or universal law or the golden mean or God's law, whatever fits your, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so it's also an existing condition which is binding, okay? It's immutable and cannot be changed. Okay, so there's 5 basic, how can you break the quote-unquote law? I would say assault, rape, trespass, coercion, and theft, okay? Are you following me?
I'm following you, but I need you to kind of speed it up a little bit.
Okay, I know it's gonna give me 2 minutes. Okay, so yeah, so a right, okay, or to me, what I'm trying to say is right and truth are kind of the same meaning. Okay, so this may make people angry with their with their feelings and this is it goes back to what the left. I think the left. You were talking earlier about how the right or conservatives used to be really religious based. Now I think it's totally flipped, and I think the left is selling as religion.
Okay, I got you. I'm gonna get to a few more calls. I gotta cut you right here, but cause I kind of understand what you're saying. Pardon me.
Okay.
I think the left is being much more religious in their ideology.
That's
yeah.
The point
I gotta talk here, but I think the left is doing that a lot more than the right. The right at one point they were the namby-pants.
Right.
They were doing that, but now the left is really doing it with their own kind of religion, and many of them purport themselves as atheists or non-religious, but really they're very religious.
That's a religion. That's a religion.
It's a religion.
Atheism is a religion.
Yes.
Sorry, it is. It is. So I mean, this is. I just want to wrap up. That's the point I'm trying to make. They're actually the more religious, and
yes.
Most people in the left, they say, oh, Christians are stupid, but Muslims are okay for some reason. That's weird. But essentially anybody that's Christian is an utter retard in their view. But this is my view. A right, okay, you can call that truth. A right is an action that causes no harm or violation of another, okay? So rights are an attribute that you can say constitute your possessions, right? Now on the other side,
I'm with you, but I gotta get to some more calls, man. I don't mean to cut you off, but my phone lines are blowing up like
okay.
It's really crazy,
That's
man.
Good for you.
So thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, cheers.
All right then. Hey, shout out to the enthusiastic callers. Definitely appreciate you, but I got to be fair to everybody and get everybody a fair shake at the mic. 717, you're in line. Who am I speaking to?
This is DJ from Pennsylvania.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, man. I'm a huge fan. I watch every single day. I'm just pretty amazed to be talking to you.
Well, thank you for your support and the kind words.
Basically, so we know Trump's building the wall and whatnot, but we know that most of illegal immigration happens by air. So do you think that he has any sort of plans to crack down on air travel?
Well, I mean, we've already seen people get detained at the airport, haven't we?
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that answers the question. The only other question I really have is, as a political sort of YouTuber myself, is there any sort of advice that you have to sort of grow my audience and just get the word out?
Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you what I do. What I do is I talk about hot events that are going on right now, and I optimize my video with the tags and a description. That's very important because you have to understand the way YouTube does this. And by the way, I'm gonna give a big shout out to Roberto Blake on YouTube. He's a great YouTuber. If you search for him, he has whole big playlists about how to grow your channel, and it really work. I listen to his stuff and I watch his stuff, and it helped me go from like 30 subscribers in November of 2015 to I got now. And I follow what he said in his actual videos, but I digress. Now, make sure your tags are full of appropriate terms that relate to your content. It's just the same kind of way Netflix does, or even your TV guide, and how they give you suggested views after you watch a show. It's because in the description of the show and also in the tags, it has words that are related to what you just saw. Sci-fi, action, adventure. But in the case of a video like what I'm doing right now, live podcast, live radio show, YouTube radio show, Milo Trigger, it's basically the same way you search on YouTube with certain short phrases or like 3-letter, like for example, Trump rally meltdown or something like that. You put that in the tags. You put variations of the same words in the tags, and you also type a description that is related to what's going on that has a lot of the keywords in it. And the title is also very important. Put a lot of the keywords in the title that relate to what's going on, but don't make it spammy. Make it seem natural. And also use social media. Use your Twitter. Use your Facebook. Use Instagram if you have it, whatever it is. But definitely Facebook and Twitter. Those are two of the most important ones, and be active on that. And that's pretty much all I can say without getting into longer and deep in depth. But definitely check out Roberto Blake. He has extended coverage on how to do it in big playlists on YouTube. They tell you exactly how to do it, and it definitely works.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. And basically, last thing I have is, where do you get your newest information? Where are you looking for your basically what you're going to do your videos on?
Well, social media. That's probably the best place. Twitter, Facebook, because anything that happens is usually there. And also, people just hit me up. That's part of building your social media. People just send me stuff. Hey, ABL, did you see this? Did you see that? And I look into it, just like my man Ramon called me earlier and was like, hey, I got a guy that you might be interested in. I'm going to send you some stuff. I just got an email from Martina, a model up there in New York, sending me some stuff. So that's kind of how that works. You just reach out to people and you build rapport with them through social media, and then they'll help you with kind of getting content for your channel as well.
All right, Anthony, I thank you for all your advice. I love the content you do, and I'd be really sad if you stopped making it. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the support, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
All right, Dan, take care. Yes, I do breathe out my nose and pause like Trump does. That's why I got triggered. I was upset when they said he was a coke addict because he was doing that. It's like, look, man, I got to breathe out of my nose. That's how I talk. When you're a public speaker, you do that sometimes. Everybody's not so smooth like Barack Obama, who doesn't even breathe. He's like a vampire. He exists on the blood of children. I'm playing. But not everybody can speak publicly and speak well without breathing through their nose and taking pauses like that. Shout out to everybody that is just an excellent speaker and they can do that off the cuff without breathing through their nostrils. 215, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
David.
All right.
How you doing tonight?
Hello. What's going on?
Hey, I want to talk about a couple of things I want to touch on. The Caitlyn Jenner issue. It's funny. I started listening to him, but I don't even like calling Caitlyn Jenner anyway. I started listening to him, and I had to cut it off. I couldn't even listen to him because his voice and just the whole thing going on with him. It's so messed up.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that President Trump turned it over to the states, and that was a very strategic move on his part, and a less of a headache as well, I believe, even though he's still going to get some backlash for it. But, I thought that was pretty damn good. And Milo Yiannopoulos, he kind of falls into that category as far as I'm concerned, because it's like these issues I feel just keep getting minimized as to what's going on. It just keeps, it's like softcore porn. It's like it starts off kind of innocent, and then it just blows up, and it's just in your face.
Hilarious.
And it kind of reminds me. It's been years since I've been in high school. I'm 42 now, but I had to do a report in English class, so I picked the subject of comic books, and I believe it was like back in the 50s, 40s or 50s, something of that nature, where they banned any comic books, any writers from glamorizing criminals or stealing. You know how they glamorize all this violence in movies and what have you, no matter how grotesque they make it, but they banned that. And they knew why the reason they did that is because that's the imprint they would have put in these children's minds. I'm trying to get that off a little wrong there. When they put that out there, it glamorizes these kids and normalizes that behavior. Like the Bonnie and Clyde incident, where people nowadays they praise them, or the Godfather type of mentality. So I put that all in the same category as the Milo incident, Bruce Jenner, and all these issues that are going on. They're just normalizing and imprinting this, in the children's heads as being okay and the total norm. So anyway, I want to ask you a question. I totally forgot, but one of these days I'll get good on these call-ins. Used to face-to-face conversations, but
the movie, that too. I have not seen that movie. I don't know that I will. I've just totally washed my hands of watching movies altogether, even television shows with a lot of people in there that's gotten really political, just very, very twisted. But anyway, that's pretty much all. One more thing real quick, all the people out there smoking weed, just stop it. Stop making excuses for it. Just admit it. You want to smoke, you want to escape reality, you want to get high. That's pretty much the only reason. Stop making up excuses that it's good for you. Rock the crap. I grew up around it, man. It's not going to do nothing but damage your thought, but your perception of reality. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on with you, man. Thanks a lot for giving me your time, Anthony. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Later.
All right, then. All righty. Yeah, the weed issue, that's definitely something, man. Hey, if you guys have any questions about Get Out, I definitely want to hear about that on this in the calls, because that people got triggered about that a little bit in the review. And I kind of understand why people are talking about it was anti-white and stuff like that, but I just saw it differently coming from my perspective. I can understand how somebody else coming from a different point of view would look at it in a negative way, but I definitely want to talk about it with you if you want to call me and ask me about it. 224, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's going on, Anthony?
Not too much.
Orange Pitbull.
Orange Pitbull, what's going on?
Not much, buddy. Hey, just calling in. Went to dinner tonight with my parents, and basically we had a question regarding the violence in Chicago.
All right.
I live just north of the city, and my dad, me and him were going back and forth on why Obama never really did anything to fix the situation in Chicago. And the way I was explaining it to him was that basically Chicago is basically already a lock for the Democrats. So for him to do something wasn't really going to gain them any more votes. And,
that's true.
And, I said maybe that's why Trump is actually wanting to do something in the state or in the city of Chicago to win back the state of Illinois back to Republican.
Well, I mean, it could be because of political reasons, but it could also be because it's a problem. Something must be done. That's
a horrible problem because, you look at the murder rate, it's already surpassing last year.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think what's going on with Chicago is that, how can I say this properly? The people that are in charge there don't really care about the situation that's happening in the black areas. See, people talk about Chicago. I know more than the average person. They think Chicago was like just one big war zone, but it's not like that. There's certain sections of the city that are very bad, and there's others that are very good. Now, why is it that the areas that are very good are that way, and the areas that are very bad, why are they that way? I think a lot of liberalism creates that kind of environment where the people that are doing well in certain places, they're taken care of, and they have the resources to be able to make everything okay. But in other areas in that same city, it's not like that. And I think they're afraid to admit that they can't really do anything, even though they claim to be such champions of the little guy, of the poor. They really can't do anything unless they take a more right-wing approach, which they don't want to do.
Yeah, and I just think, that basically what happened was, they had McCarthy that was in charge of the police, and they pushed McCarthy out, kind of used him as a scapegoat, and then they installed the Escalante as like the interim superintendent, and basically all the politicians were pushing for a black police chief, so then they got Eddie Johnson now.
Right.
Which Eddie Johnson's cool, but having him in there hasn't reduced the murder rate at all.
Of course not, because the problem is not with the police chief or the commissioner or whoever it is. It's not. He can't do anything. I've seen him talk on different shows or just press conferences and whatnot, and he says what the problem is. He's like, look at the prosecution. It was one post I saw on Facebook. A friend of mine, I think he was a cop in Chicago. Well, the guy that posted it was not a cop, but the person who had it originally was a cop, black cop. And he was talking about how he saw a teenager, 15 or 16, who came in there with a loaded gun, and when they caught him with a loaded gun, a .45, and he was released 1 hour later. 2 weeks later, he goes and kills a little girl. So that kind of stuff happens all the time. You got a high recidivism rate. It's the same thing happens in Baltimore. You had Freddie Gray, who died in the police custody. People want to go out there, talk about Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. Y'all keep oppressing us. But he was only like 25 years old and had been arrested the same amount of time as his age. If it was such a big thing about oppressing black people in that place, why was he arrested so many times? Why was he not in jail at that moment? That's the problem. It's light sentencing. People are soft on crime. That's why the crime keeps happening.
Exactly. I mean, they should have mandatory minimums at least, for gun crimes. Because here where I live at, I think it was last year, or the year before, some kid got killed because he was buying a stolen gun from somebody else. The cops caught him. Basically, he took off running, and he pulled the gun out, and the cops shot him dead. The guy that had stolen the gun originally was only, I think, 18 or 19, something like that. And his punishment was basically he got probation for that. And within like 6 months or so, he was doing the same thing again, stealing guns. And he got caught a second time. And his punishment the second time was basically go to school and go straight home after school. And if you get caught, then you're going to get more probation.
Right. And see, when that happens, the way they look at it is that I'm pretty much getting away with it. They're giving me a slap on the wrist. I can evade responsibility. So I'm going to keep on doing it until I actually have to go to jail for a long period of time, which they think will never come because they keep getting off light. But if it's a deterrent to have a high sentence. That's why the crime bill was actually pretty good as it relates to crime in the black area or in the nation in general. People talk about how crime is down since the 90s, but they don't say why. The left always says, oh, crime is down. But why is it down since the 90s? What happened in 1994 that brought the crime down? They don't want to admit that, and that's why places like Chicago in the black areas are the way they are.
You agree with the stop and frisk?
Absolutely. Yes.
You don't think it'd be racial profiling? Like everybody's claiming that, you stop them because they're black. You're basically, profiling them?
Well, I mean, it's not racial profiling because you got to think about who's committing the crime in these areas, who's doing it. I mean, you can just look at the statistics and see who's doing it. And if you're in a mostly black and or Latino area, who are you going to pull over? Who you going to stop and frisk? And the reality is people say that, it has a low turnover, it has a low rate of success, but that's not even the point. The point is to be a deterrent, so you can't just go do whatever you want to do. I was watching the black YouTuber as I close here. I'm going to get to a few more calls. Yeah. But I was watching the black YouTuber in the Bronx, South Bronx, in the hood, and he was talking about, his name is Sean James, by the way. Look up Sean James, and you'll probably see this video. He was talking about how when they had stop and frisk, you may have had a shooting once every month. Once or twice a month. But now, after stop and frisk is gone, you got a shooting every day. Now, who suffers in that situation? Is it the black man and woman that have to live in that area, in a low-income area, who say that, and some of them say that it's racial profiling, but at the end of the day, who's suffering that the profiling is not there anymore?
Yeah, I got you.
So thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. This was a pretty good conversation about Chicago. So
hey, thank you for taking my call.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I saw a comment in the chat that says, when has a right-wing approach ever worked? Well, if you look at the more conservative type of areas, you don't have the crime in Chicago. You just don't have it. And Chicago is a very rich city, one of the wealthiest in the world. But why is the black area of Chicago so poor? People talk about Chicago, they say it's a war zone. Chicago, but they don't talk about it's the black area of Chicago. North Side, places like that, where it's a lot of white folks or non-blacks or non-Hispanics, it's not violent at all. It's the black areas where the violence happens. You say you want to get rid of stop and frisk because it's racist. Well, what's more racist? Having more dead black people or having somebody be inconvenienced for a moment because they live in a high crime area? You tell me. Would you rather be dead or inconvenienced? I don't know. I'll pick inconvenience every day. 281, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Victor. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. What's going on?
Yeah, I heard you talking about the legalization of marijuana. I was wondering, what do you say to people who try to compare it to alcohol? How
alcohol is legalized and you have all these deaths with alcohol. And what do you say to the people with that type of argument?
Well, I think alcohol should also be illegal, but we kind of beyond that. And the reality is, actually, alcohol is a states' rights issue in reality, because some places you can't get alcohol. You got dry counties, but that's a whole different story. Now, I digress. My point that I'm making is that alcohol is bad, and I wish it wasn't legal, but it is. And cigarettes, the same thing. I wish it was not legal, but it is. Same thing with chewing tobacco and everything else. Harmful drugs. But the thing is, with weed, it's just one more drug that is going to be included in a list of substances we already use too much of and we abuse. And it also pushes the line further, just like my man Azif was talking about earlier. Before I even mentioned my argument, he was talking about MDMA and kind of bringing that into the argument, you see? Because once you legalize marijuana, what's next? It's going to be the next drug that's going to be put on the table, just like the same thing with gay rights I was talking about earlier. You want to legalize gay marriage, now you want to legalize forcing someone to make you a gay wedding cake. Now you say transgender rights. Let's get that ball rolling. So now you got that thing happening. You see, it's a slippery slope of legislation, not of drug use per se, coming from weed to ecstasy, but of society looking at things in a more normalized way.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I do see your point about with the alcohol, because I do see alcohol as a gateway drug also, because I am in the research field, and they have seen the research on how alcohol affects the dopamine pathway in your brain, and but at the same time, I think that it's a hard time to try to make alcohol illegal, because it's so intrinsic to society.
Correct.
And if you do, and especially when there's a lot of money involved, especially with football games and stuff.
Yes.
So, and again, it's just, you're just going to add one more bad thing to it. And I don't mind as far as as a medication. If you use it as a medication, great. But if you use it for recreational, I don't know. I don't know about using it as a recreational.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm going to tell a personal story, but I won't say any names. Now, somebody I know very close to me is an alcoholic, and I've taken them to rehab, and I've been inside a rehab center, and I've heard stories about what goes on. And the people there, they use drugs because of something that happened in their life. They're trying to escape, and they use pretty much anything to get their hands on. And it's always about, okay, this drug didn't really do it for me, so I'm going to try this drug, and then this drug, and then this drug. And the more drugs you have that are allowed into society, as normalized, as legal, as not really any kind of taboo, they're going to do all those drugs. And then they're going to go to the street drugs, and then they're going to try to create more drugs. It's always a never-ending cycle when it comes to that kind of stuff. So when you're talking about trying to have a healthy society, I don't think introducing more drugs, to your point, is really a good thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes back to what I said about gateway drug. You're just looking for a new high, and you go for the strongest substance. And for people who don't know about how hard it is to get off from addiction, once that addiction takes over your brain pathway, in particular the dopamine, because that's the reward center. It just rewires every your pathway in your brain, and it's going to be very, very, very hard to get off of it. And even if it's been 10 years, once you put that drug back in your system, then the body will remember what happened 10 years ago, and you're back onto addiction.
Absolutely. Great point.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I see somebody in the chat said that I'm a hypocrite because the same argument could be used for guns, but don't do that. Don't do that, because if you do that, you understand that you cannot drive with your being drunk or with an open container or something like that, alcohol. And you probably can't even drive when you're smoking weed because you're visually impaired. Your mental capacity is different. So don't talk about a health issue as something that's the same thing as a gun issue. Because what if they say, you know what, guns are dangerous, so you can't drive with your gun in your car? You see what I'm saying? So don't do that, because you got to think. You guys got to think deeper than just right here. A lot of you do. I got a lot of very smart subscribers and callers, but I implore everybody listening to me, if you hear the sound of my voice, think deeper. Don't think about that one thing in isolation. Think about it as something that's included in a lot of other things. But shout out to my caller. That was a great call about addiction. 703, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Turn your speakers down, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, this is Gabriel.
All right, Gabriel, what's going on?
So you were talking about the prohibition and stuff like that. Well, what about the rise in organized crime?
I mean, like, what do you mean?
Well, see, I'm still in high school, and I was just learning about how during the Prohibition era, gangs were making a lot of money off of alcohol because there was nowhere else to buy it.
Yes.
So wouldn't that be a good reason for it to be legal?
For what to be legal? Weed?
No, alcohol.
Well, I mean, the thing about alcohol, it's not about alcohol itself as far as being legal or illegal. It's about society looking at it as something that is not taboo, that is not something that is anything that is abnormal or can harm you, even though it can. Uh-huh. Because when it was illegal, you got to look at you got to look at it in 3 dimension and in full color. When you had alcohol being illegal, it was a taboo kind of thing. People thought that it might harm you. People thought that it could kill you, and it can, obviously. But it was a debate going on in the country at the time of prohibition, whether or not you should allow alcohol into a place or not. It was really a states' rights issue back then, because some places, even to this day, do not allow alcohol into the community. They thought that it did more harm than good. A lot of small towns, rural areas. I've been to places where you got dry counties where you cannot buy alcohol at all. And back then, it was something that it was a debate. Do we do it nationally or do we do it locally? But eventually, national won because of a lot of different reasons. But the high crime issue was not always the case everywhere around the country. So it was more about normalizing it to the American people.
Oh, do you mean high crime wasn't an issue around the country because is this like around the time when it was like prohibition, or when do you mean by that?
Well, during prohibition, the issue of high crime was not, it did not exist everywhere around the country. Put it like that. Because Al Capone was in Chicago, but what about all the other cities in the nation?
All right.
See,
I see that.
Yeah. So I implore you. I think there's a documentary on YouTube about prohibition from the perspective of people that were actually there during that period of time. You had violence in a lot of cities because of prohibition, or in some cities like Chicago that everybody talks about. But what about everywhere else? What about small towns? What about like church kind of places, Amish country? Think about those kind of places and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But wait, follow-up question.
Yes.
So was the violence that was happening in the city because of the alcohol and like the organized crime, or so like did it not help to legalize it there in the cities, or not? Was it worth it?
Well, in certain places it may have been, but here's another question. In Chicago, how is murder rate going right now?
Pretty high.
And what was it back then? Let's compare it. Let's compare and contrast. Like the number, of course, is different as far as number of people in the city was different back then. But what was the murder rate during Al Capone's time compared to now? Like, do that research and get back to me.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Huge fan. Later.
Right. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. Shout out to everybody calling. I got a lot of great callers, a lot of open-minded people. I definitely appreciate all of y'all. If you want to donate to my channel, click under your name. There's a little $ right there. It's a super chat. If you click on that button, you can click send super chat. You can send a message also. And if you send a message, it'll be at the top of the screen for a while. People can see it. And also, if you want to donate to my Patreon, if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Anthony B. Logan. That's patreon.com/ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN. And my website is the same thing, anthonyblogan.com. You can go right there to the contact page and give me a PayPal donation if you don't want to do anything public like on Patreon or Super Chat or whatever. And also, there's some links in the box below this video that you can click on to donate. And also follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Anthony B. Logan. And go on Facebook, search for AnthonyBrianLogan.com, and this handsome face shall appear. And if you're not subscribed, please do so right now. Click on that button right there, right up under that, the little red button, and click on that bell right beside it to get notifications whenever I go live or post a new video. Yeah, but the whole alcohol issue, you know, I mean, I don't know. My point about that is that you don't want to just create an environment to where everything is on the table to be up for legislation. Heroin, pardon me. I don't want to be ghetto. Heroin, cocaine, everything you're going to put on the table when you start to kind of push that line further and further away from the center. When you talk about weed, then you got to bring up ecstasy. Then you got to bring up, do we have heroin shooting facilities in our county? You don't want that kind of stuff to live right next to you. And if you want to legalize drugs, do you want to live next to the bando, to the trap house, to the crack house? Is that where you want to live? I've been inside a bando before and a crack house before when I was a little boy. You don't want to live there. 770, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, this is Scott in Atlanta.
All righty, what's going on?
Good evening, Anthony. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate the time and effort that you put into YouTube here. I wanted to switch gears a little bit and just make a comment about the daily White House pressers that Sean Spicer leads.
Yes.
And I've watched him several times, and I got to be honest and say I've been unimpressed with the quality and experience level of many of the reporters that represent the press, especially those that are leaning towards the left. And it shows up in the quality and focus of their questions. The questions they ask are really not about big policy so much as they're trivial matters that they seem to want to exploit. No fault of their own. Many of them are under the age of 30 and lack real-world experience, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but the reality is when you're young in your career, you just don't have the knowledge that you have later on. And so one point I wanted to make with regard to that is there was a story in the Atlantic recently about a Muslim woman that worked for the National Security Council and was hired under Obama right out of school. The article insinuated a lot of racism and misogyny, that was going on because she was let go by the Trump team. And that became a very large issue last week. And Spicer's answer was just simply, it was a politically appointed position, and the president has every right to put people in those positions that, appreciate his policies. And it just went on and on. They're like, are you saying you can't be a Democrat or you can't have an opposing ideology and work for the president? And he just kept saying, look, he's the president. These are politically appointed positions, and your argument is, lacks common judgment. So I just really wanted to make a comment and see what you think of, the quality of the press reporters that, that meet on a daily basis. And thank you again for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it. Now, the quality of the reporters, I've not really noticed that, but I'm not really surprised because you got a lot of people that are very young, people that are, in their 30s, but like sub 30 that are working for these companies. A lot of fresh-faced people. But you got to understand, a lot of these beat writers, a lot of times they get burned out, and they want to go and do different things. They want to kind of move up the chain and become somebody bigger and better. So just the average everyday grunt person that works in these places is going to be like a childless person living in Washington, D.C. So that's going to be pretty much who you get. And a lot of times they're brought up in these liberal indoctrination centers we call public schools, maybe even private schools, colleges, etc. And they're told certain things that prepare them to behave the way they behave when they get on TV. It's really unfortunate, but that's just pretty much what it is. And there's not much you can really do about that except for just to reform the education system and try to get a lot of these parents to tighten up. That's all I can really say. But shout out to all the callers. Shout out to Asif. Shout out to all the mods. Lucha Milo. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll it down here. We got about 10 more minutes. I'm not getting any calls right now. So if you want to call, go ahead and ring that number. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I see you guys in the chat having a heated discussion. Abby Cruz, what's going on? Ghosty, what are you guys talking about? Writer Jack asked me, I understand your explanation for drugs, but can you be more specific in how gay marriage follows the same pattern? Thank you for the question and a donation. I just happened to read it because I saw it. It stood out to me. But you have to understand what I'm talking about as far as you have a certain line in the sand that's drawn in society. And that is where people think that you don't go beyond. You know, you don't try to legislate gay marriage. You don't try to introduce that into the zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it. Now that we have that, the line has been shifted. And the new center is transgender issues. So rather than the transgender issue being far away from the actual course of discussion, now is right here. Same thing with harder drugs than weed. Weed was a boundary. It was right here. Now you've moved it. So what's right here is methamphetamine, stuff like that. Rather than it being way over here and not being talked about. That's how I can kind of relate it to each other. (218) You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Angel.
Angel, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing much. Just enjoying my Saturday watching the live broadcast. Earlier, the coconut water guy. I loved it.
Hey, man, I definitely appreciate you for watching, for enjoying it, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
By the way, I think you've been tricked by the previous caller who was asking about the prohibition questions.
What about it now?
The dude who was asking about the prohibition questions, I think you've been tricked.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think he was asking the questions for my homework assignments he was assigned to.
Hey, man, maybe, but that's okay though, because I like that regardless. Come to me and ask a question rather than going to Wikipedia or something like that and plagiarizing some old stuff. Just ask me and get it straight from the horse's mouth as far as an informed opinion is concerned. So I appreciate that if you did.
Yeah, that's true. You're the alternative media, let's just put it that way.
There you go, 100%.
Yeah, have a good rest of your Saturday and a great Sunday. I'll talk to you later.
All right, then, Angel. Appreciate the call, man.
Hope Facebook doesn't break on you next week.
Hopefully it doesn't, man. But if it does, I'm gonna just bring it back here to YouTube and do another show here rather than trying to do with that because I don't have no time for that.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
All right, then, Angel. Take care. Unknown number. Who am I speaking to? Unknown number. Hello. Don't get cold feet now. If you're gonna call me, get on the horn and talk to me. I answered 586, whoever that was. It might have been Nazareth. 804, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Larry.
All right, it was going.
Hey, you seen that commercial they came out with not too long ago using children, and somebody made the comment that it's like the propaganda that North Korea's been using. What are your feelings on that?
I missed what you said. Say that one more time.
Yeah, the commercial they came out with bashing Trump with using children, basically just the anti-Trump movement. They're using kids to push the political agenda. And there's been people making comments about, this is the kind of stuff that North Korea does as far as pushing the propaganda on. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, that's what the left does. They don't really care. The morality is just not there. As far as propaganda is concerned, there's a lot of that going on. Maybe even on both sides.
How are you going to put it? How to? I mean, I understand you don't watch these news medias, and they're being funded by people that obviously got deep pockets. But I mean, like your show, very real, down to earth. How do you get something like this off the ground to where not only one person, but basically a circle of guys that are focusing on the truth can basically push each other up for the public? I mean, it's the best interest of the public to know the truth, not for little petty shit,
Easy with the cussing, sir. But it's all good. Are you asking me how can I get this to be bigger?
Well, no. Well, yeah, yes, I guess in a way I am bigger in a sense to where you and everybody else in the alternative media can grow as one. I mean, there's got to be a way to where the public can start seeing that this mainstream media is really not for our benefit.
Well, I think the best thing for us is just to keep pushing, keep pushing hard. The Mark Dices of the world. Mark Dice, he gets more views than a lot of shows on CNN. Same thing with Alex Jones. Keep pushing, keep going hard to the point where we overtake them. See, that's why PewDiePie got in trouble, because the mainstream media is upset with him because of how much money he makes. He's an alternative source of media, even though he's not even in news at all. He just is a guy on YouTube. They're upset that he's able to have facial and audio media and make so much money, millions of dollars, and just come from nothing and make himself into something. They're upset. And they know that many of us are kind of like on their heels. All we got to do is just keep pushing the pedal to the metal to the point where they become irrelevant, especially with the younger generation. Many of them do not even watch regular TV through a coaxial cable on their wall. They're all on their devices. They're all on their cell phones, tablets, etc. And they're watching media that way. So it's easier just to get us live, talk to us on the phone, do whatever they want to do, rather than relying on that old format, which has to come through your wall, and it just made no sense. So I think you got to just keep going, and eventually we'll kind of overtake them as a more popular form of media.
Well, I mean, like Mark Dice, I mean, since you brought him up, I mean, isn't there a way that, I mean, if people are going to promote the truth, why don't they start giving one another free kickbacks just off of pure merits of truth? I mean, have you ever tried reaching out to him, maybe getting him on your show? Maybe he could do. I mean, I'm just saying, because this is.
I understand what you mean, but people do that sometimes. I've been on different people's shows, but that's not necessary to do all the time, because I think it's still good to have different people that kind of operate independently of one another that people can choose from. Because if it all just kind of links together, then at a certain point, you're just like going back to the cable package where everybody comes together and just has one thing. And then at a certain point where you try to all come together, your views start to become more similar. But I think the strength of the internet and of YouTube in general and alternative media is how divergent the views are and how different the views are. And people can just pick and choose whatever they want. And if they got a problem with somebody, they don't have to be conflicted when they do with somebody else that they like that is now affiliated with them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, their own Patreons. Okay, I got you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just curious if anybody, I mean, like you, have ever tried to reach out to like Mark Dice. And that is exactly who I had in mind when I called. But that's pretty awesome, man. I hope things grow for you, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. Definitely appreciate it.
Hello.
757, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Turn the speakers down, please.
Oh, Lord.
Who is this?
I just dialed. This is Cynthia.
Cynthia, what's going on?
Cynthia Webb. I just dialed, and you picked up, and, of course, there's a delay, so I had to move away from the tablet because I'm in the age bracket where I couldn't figure out how to turn it down fast enough. But I just wanted to call and say hello. I know you didn't really talk about Bruce Jenner, so I'm not sure what the kerfuffle is with him.
But yeah, he got triggered because of the Trump situation where he rescinded what Obama did last year with the transgender stuff, saying that if you are a school, if you offer the educational program or activity, you have to allow transgender students to use a bathroom of their choice. That got put on hold by a judge, but Trump had rescinded it, so it couldn't get brought back up. And Bruce Jenner, whatever you want to call him, he got triggered.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. Well, I didn't think he was like he was like that. I'm hesitating between he and she. I didn't think he was like that, but the only thing Trump said is that it was going to go back to the states, right? Let them decide?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my only other thing, as I always want to talk about, is that how there's issues on both sides, Democrat and Republican.
Of course.
And the underlying elite establishment. The really underlying is the spiritual part of it all.
Yes, it's
just
definitely
for people
pretty
to
deep.
Think about that. Yeah, because my cousin is always on my back about you're Republicans, and I'm like, look, I know there's problems on both sides. So my thing is that Trump is not involved on both. He's not involved in the elite. He's going to do what he thinks is right. Of course, my certain friends, they don't believe that because they believe the hype. But I'm like, yes, there's problems on both sides, but Trump is not a part of that. He's going to do what he thinks is right, no matter where the money's coming from, no matter what the media says. So that's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. People going to wake up eventually when they see that he does good. I think that'll be what does it. When they see that he's performing well, then they'll be like, okay, I like him now. But as of right now, he's still in office. Like, he just got in office, and they just upset that a Republican is in there. They think he's racist. But then once he shows and proves, a lot of that, I hope, on their side will go away as far as the negative feeling is concerned.
I think it will. I think I've heard, I don't want to bring up prophecies, but I think I've heard some prophecies that that's what's going to happen. He's going to do something good, and it's not going to be too long from now, and so people are going to start to see. So we just need to keep praying.
Absolutely.
And start going to church.
Well,
a good church.
to each his own. I don't want to touch that right there because I know people try to get me to go to church, but
Yeah, just think about it.
Okay, I will.
All right. Well, I just wanted to call and say hi. I said, well, I've never called so people can hear my voice, and maybe I'll call back another day with a real issue.
Well, absolutely. Call back, please.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for your support, as always.
No problem.
All right, then. Take care.
Good night.
That great caller right there was Cynthia Webb. She is in the chat, so y'all holler at her, tell her what's up. Shout out to Cynthia Webb. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Holy cow. Anthony, I've been trying to get a hold of you for at least the last hour and a half. Thank you for taking my call. My name's Taylor. I'm from Idaho. And I was reading the... Sorry, buddy. I cannot hear you through my phone whatsoever. Hold on.
Well, I'm not talking right now. Can you hear
There
me?
we go.
Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you. Yes. Sorry. So thank you for taking my call. I mean, dude, you are such a great inspiration just for not even just alternative media, but just a different insight of...
Oh, man. Hey, man, if you call back, I'll answer. I was getting ready to end here pretty soon, but if you call back, I'll answer. I can't call you because I can't call out, but if you call back, I'll answer. Hey, shout out to Cynthia Webb. That was a great call. My man was trying to get in for a while, and I can see his call history here. That he was trying to call in for a while, since like 10:30. I am still streaming Nicholas Davis. I'm gonna wrap up here pretty soon, but I'm waiting for my man to call back. I'm gonna give him a few minutes. Yeah, that. Hey, I don't know what happened. Sometimes I think Skype is a little funny. It's a little janky. Sometimes they drop calls like that. I don't know what's really going on. So I can't really, there's too much I can do about that, And my phone line blows up right after that. 718, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Hallie, in Brooklyn. I don't know if you maybe discussed this earlier because I just got on. I was busy earlier this evening. But that whole thing with the Bruce, every time I look at that guy, I get revolted. But I thought these people that will, they want open borders. Maybe you mentioned this. I don't know. There's a certain irony that they want open borders, but they don't care about the safety of their children in a bathroom.
Right.
Can somebody explain to me that contradiction? I don't know, because every time I hear something from these people, they open their mouth. I'm just wondering. It's not just what planet they're on. Do they really even care about children? These people, or is it just this whole thing is they're upset because they're being denied self-expression? I don't know your take. I mean, I wish somebody could shake them and point to them the whole. I don't know the whole irony of what they're saying, or the contradiction. I don't know what you think.
Yeah.
Hello, hi.
I mean, it's crazy. You know, I don't really understand. I think a lot of it is virtue signaling and just want to seem like they are for the little guy. They don't want to seem racist, sexist, xenophobe, all these obes and is. So then they just put them on. They put their kids in danger. They put themselves in danger. It doesn't make any sense.
I was looking at an earlier thread of what you said yesterday. I was just reviewing it. You said like the parent. Like I think that apparently there was some revolting TV, TV clip. Some woman with a transgender child. You're just questioning the parents. I don't know. I mean, what do they? Yeah, I don't know if it's a question that it's the parenting. Is it the parenting that's off of these?
I understand. I think you have some parents that are mentally ill themselves because
they should be having kids.
I saw that. I mean, on NBC, you had a woman talking about she has a transgender child. Now, they did not identify who the transgender child was, but all I saw was little kids, and she did not look like she was too much beyond 30 herself. So, how do you have a child that is transgender? That is child abuse.
I don't know. That's bizarre, especially that young. It's like probably the woman herself, like, I don't know, 2 bricks short of a full load. Anyway, I enjoy your shows. You really just articulate a lot what I was thinking. It really got me. So just say hi and I won't tie up the line. I know it's late, so. But thanks for hearing me out. Okay, I'll let you go. Okay.
All right, thank you for calling. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hey, I love all y'all callers, man. You callers are great. I look forward to this every week. I'm gonna do another show here, and if you have any suggestions as to when I should do my show, like as far as what day and time, let me know in the box, and I'll try to see it. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Taylor from Boise.
All right, Taylor from Boise. What's going on?
Yeah, so Anthony, I mean, just keep up the good work. I mean, I'm a millennial. I'm probably only 25 years old. You seem like not only that you're only maybe a couple of years older than me. I don't think you're like 35, but
32.
32. See, yeah. You're my brother-in-law. Thank God for you guys actually pulling us out of this hellhole that we were all brought up into, thinking that, mom and dad had all of that for free and that I could just take it or have it.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on with the connection. Hey, shout out to my man, 25-year-old millennial. I don't know what's happening. Skype is acting a little funny, but once I'm able to get like a Rush Limbaugh and have a dedicated phone line and stuff like that, and have my man in the back operating the switches, I'll be a lot more wavy with my connection. I'm shutting down here pretty soon. I'm gonna take as many calls as I can before I bounce. Thank you all for being here. I definitely appreciate all of you. You guys have been great with the PayPal donations, with the super chat, with the Patreon stuff, with all support on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, and on the channel right here for subscribing and commenting. You guys are great. I have a great audience of people that comment a lot and talk to each other. I have a good community here, so I definitely want to keep that going and keep it being built up in the future. 724, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, this is Tony.
All righty. Turn speakers down, please, in the background.
Right. Thank you for taking my call here. I'm a big fan. I've been a fan for a while. I just wanted to get your take on what Waylon Pierre said the other day at the CPAC about CNN calling them out 10 years ago for being fake news.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now I heard you, but I did not hear what he said at CPAC.
Oh, he basically said that he showed a clip of it was when Bill Clinton's gun ban was fixing to be over. And it was in 2003, I think. And he said that he was and one of the CNN, whatever you want to call them, news reporters or something, they did a thing where they said about the assault weapons, like they were trying to scare people with the Bill Clintons, the gun ban, the M16s and stuff in the early 90s. And they were CNN was trying to like drum up all this, media saying that it was going to be like full automatic weapons that were going to be legal, and they were trying to get this big hoorah, if you will.
Hello, I'm listening to you.
So I just thought that was kind of that it's gotten to the point where CNN, even they have like lobbyists and stuff in DC even calling them out now and saying, it's like President Trump has opened up our eyelids to how corrupt all these different media outlets are.
I think many of us kind of understood what was going on, but I think Trump has kind of validated our opinions. And Obama did something similar, even though he did not validate anything because what he said was not true, but I digress. He talked about Fox News a lot and how they portray him a certain way and how they're not really honest. He did that a lot and nobody called him on it. And now all of a sudden Trump is doing something similar, but it's actually factual about CNN. And it's his big headline, but I don't think it really should be. He's just being honest.
Yes, it's very much so. I'll let you, I know you're getting ready to do your show here, so I'll just let you know I'm a big fan. And,
well, thank you for the call, man. Thank you for the call and your support. I definitely appreciate you. All right, take care, man. Shout out to the callers, man. I'll take a few more before I bounce. 850, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, this is Jacob. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to thank you for your movie reaction to Get Out. I wasn't too interested in the trailer when I saw it, but after watching your reaction to it, by happenstance, I happened to see it tonight, and it was very engaging. It was very good to watch.
Well, I'm glad that, my reaction definitely helped you to kind of go watch a good movie, because, I wanted to do that because I had a bad reaction of it when it first dropped. I thought it was going to be anti-white propaganda, but when I saw it, it was a good movie. I can't deny a good movie when I see it. It was good. I definitely enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, I definitely would recommend anyone to go see it. Like you on the same page, when I saw the trailer, it completely turned me off to want to see it. But after what you said about it, checked it out, and it was worth every penny. Definitely a good, if anyone's going to see a movie, that's definitely going to be one to see.
100%, man. Absolutely.
I won't take too much of your time, but love your work, love your channel, and take it easy.
Thank you for the support and the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Have a good night.
All right, same to you. You guys in the chat are funny talking about coconut water still. Like, what's that? The movie we're talking about, Truth, Justice, Peace, is called Get Out. And I have a reaction to it on my channel. If you look at my videos, I just did a reaction. I think it was, what was that? I did it. It dropped on Friday, but I did it right after I saw the movie on Thursday. Okay, what we got here? 425, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hello. This is Matthew from Seattle. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What I wanted to discuss is going back to what you guys were talking about earlier about the right-winging and the Mark Dices and Alex Jones. And noticed something very strange going on with the right wing. It reminds me of what happened with the left wing as soon as Obama went in. They seem to be creating an echo chamber of sorts. And I wanted to get what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I'm not really sure what you mean.
Well, it's just very much pro-Trump bias, and there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of bias, but it seems as if they hold him to such a high pedestal and that he can do no wrong, and they rarely criticize him on any issues.
Well, what should they be criticizing him on?
Well, the Yemen raid, he's very authoritarian. He's talked several times on his Twitter account about banning flag burning.
Well, I think we like that. I think a lot of people on the right like conflict for some reason. I don't like him being overseas doing any kind of raids. As far as flat burning is concerned, a lot of us said that we wanted that to be banned when it was going on during the campaign. So if he does that, then that's something that we like.
Interesting. All right, well, if you get your thoughts on that, have a good night.
Appreciate the call. Definitely, appreciate it. (801), you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is John from Salt Lake. How's it going?
Everything's going pretty good. About yourself?
Good. Hey, man, I've been listening to you for about a year, and I love your show. And I really like your live show. Been tuning in every Saturday night. Appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks for the support.
Hey, I went and saw the Lego movie tonight, and I recommend you go see it and do a review.
Okay.
Because it's highly indoctrination of like the LGBT SJW. Went and saw it with my kids. Kind of was expecting what we saw from the first Lego movie, which was great. But it just left a lot of questions. Kind of, me and my wife was kind of discussing it on the way home. But yeah, it just was not really humorous. And I'm just kind of interested in seeing what your take is on it.
Okay. I might check it out. This may be a new thing for me. I may create a new channel where I just have movie reviews on it, where I talk about it from my perspective, talk about some of the political overtones of it. I might do that.
Yeah, because Stefan Molyneux does this every once in a while. He did Angry Birds, which is actually a really good movie, and he did Tangled and Frozen, and he kind of calls out like the leftist liberal indoctrination like undertones, this directed at kids, and it's kind of, you see like the way the Lego movie is kind of like the breakdown of like the alpha male or masculinity is kind of what it came off to me like, and like Batman is the breakdown of the male in society, and he has to be brought up by the collective part of the Lego movie. So it's just was kind of interesting to me watching it. So since I liked your movie review you did the other day. Appreciate it. Since you did that, I thought I'd recommend that to you. But I love your show. It's great. I've been listening to you for like a little over a year, and also the thing with Milo, I think it was a total hit piece. Seems like they've been going after everybody lately, so I don't know. I think he did a lot to get Trump elected, and kind of some of the things he said was questionable, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think we need to not leave a soldier on the field, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I understand what you mean. I do.
Well, right on. Well, hey, I love your show. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, see ya.
All right, there. The whole thing with Milo is that he just went a little bit too far, and it's okay to call somebody out when they go too far. But I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to have it seem like I was trying to throw him away. I just had to call him on what he did. Everybody that it's like you got a brother or a family member or something like that. You can go to war with them. You be in the trenches, but if they do something wrong, you can't just let them do whatever they want. Hold them to a standard, and make sure that they understand what the boundaries are. A lot of guys will do stuff like that. They'll test boundaries to see how far they can go, and Milo found where he can go. 404, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, 404. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. This is Dan Robinson from Georgia.
All right, turn your speakers down, please, in the background.
Sorry. This is Dan Robinson from Georgia. What's up?
Everything's good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I remember the Milo situation with him being, with the pedophilia situation. I was watching some Uncle Hotep. Shout out to his channel.
Big ol' Uncle Hotep.
Yeah. he mentioned someone. He was talking about this Salon article. He talked about that. I recognize early on where they had this pedophile article where he talked about the guy's a pedophile. He's not a monster.
Yes.
So, and they took that right off as soon as the Milo situation popped up everywhere. So I just want to know what your take is on it.
Well, of course they're going to do that because they, on one end, they want to kind of test boundaries of being the SJW and trying to include people that really shouldn't be included. But at the same time, they don't want to have anything that lines up with what somebody on the right may think, a guy like Milo. So, and then also they don't want that kind of attention. They don't want to be called out for any kind of hypocrisy. So of course they're going to delete it to avoid any of that from happening. But I think they still, the damage has been done, but they tried to mitigate it, so to speak.
Yeah, I understand. I also think of like the entire transgender bathroom situation. I think like when Obama was in office, he started out with the gay marriage thing, and like I think of these laws passed for the gays and the homosexuals in this country is that I look at them as like stages. Like stage 1 is like the gay marriage, and stage 2 is like the transgender thing with the bathroom, where they have to make them, and then they extend the bathroom into locker rooms. And that's like a bit stretch.
Yes, it's always going to be the next thing. It's going to be what's next. What's next is going to be, the gay marriage, transgender. Is always going to be a snowball effect. Like it's the same thing I was saying about the drugs. You got to have a certain point where everybody in society agrees. We won't go beyond this red line, so to speak. Because once you cross that red line, it's going to be, an avalanche of more things. It's always going to be more and more and more. It won't be, we just get this one thing and that's over. It'll always be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. If there's never any line drawn in the sand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think like to the next step, it's going to be the most dangerous one of them all. Because the only thing I think this one's going to be more favored to the pedophiles, and this goes to that Salon article, because like here with the bathroom law, pedophiles like dress up as a woman, they claim they're women. If they go by that law, if they would have passed it, and they would have like hide behind the law and be like, I claim I'm a woman, I claim this and that. So it's dangerous for those kinds of people. Because the law, they will take advantage of that law.
Speak up a little bit. Talk more into the phone.
Oh, sorry. Because with the pedophile, they will hide behind the bathroom laws, and it's like if the dudes who think they dress up as a woman, they will get caught. So once they get caught, they can just immediately go to the police officers and say that I'm a woman, because they just claim I'm a woman, so that's the new law. If those laws will ever get passed, so they will hide behind these laws if these laws are passed. And that's why I think the next step is going to be kind of really dangerous. So that's what I think.
I'm with you on that, man. But I'm gonna get to probably my final call here. I definitely appreciate the call, man, and the support.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, peace.
Peace.
All right. I'm gonna do one more call if you guys call in. Thank you everybody for calling. I definitely appreciate you. This will be my last call. 804. You on the line? Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Tom Seals over in Matthews, Virginia.
All righty, what's going on?
I'm just thinking about how good a job you're doing, man. I've been watching you for a while now. I like your live shows, and you seem to have really good, honest answers. No bullshit in them, just appreciate your time online.
Well, thank you for your kind words, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Keep it up. I think you're going to grow really big, man.
Well,
it looks like it's pumping up quick.
That's the goal, with I got good supporters like you guys out there that keep supporting me, and I get more and more every day. So that's definitely the goal, to keep on growing.
Yeah, we need people like you. It's about time we found some people that could be honest in the news. That's something that we're definitely in need of, and appreciate you doing it. You're a nice young guy. You seem well-spoken. You look like one of the guys my kids would bring home from school.
I definitely appreciate that.
Keep up the good work.
Will do. Absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate the call, man.
All right. Bye.
Get her done. Shout out to Matthews, Middle Peninsula. Big up Matthews, Gloucester, all that over there. Shout out. I'm over here on the south side. Hope you guys didn't get rained on too hard over there tonight. All right, you guys. That'll probably be a wrap for my show. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Thank you all for being here. This was a great show. I definitely appreciate all the callers, everybody in the chat, all my subscribers, all the supporters. I definitely appreciate you. If you do not know who I am by now, my name is Anthony Brown Logan. You've been watching ABL Live. I do this show every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I may do another one throughout the week right here on YouTube, live with calling people. I'm not really sure when I'll do it or what time or whatever, but if you guys have a suggestion for what time and day I should do the show beyond this one, just let me know on my social media and also on my website. You can send me an email. That website is anthonyblogan.com. That's ANTHONY, the letter BLOGAN. You can also donate to my Patreon if you'd like to do that as well. The Patreon is patreon.com/AnthonyBLogan. And also, you can look in the description box of this video and see some other links for PayPal, whatever you want to do. I definitely appreciate it. And definitely follow me on my social media, twitter.com/AnthonyBLogan. And search on Facebook for Anthony Brian Logan. And this handsome face shall appear. Thank you all for being here. I definitely appreciate you. I'm going to give a shout out to my mods. Let me load them up right quick so I don't miss anybody. You got Lucha Milo, Dina Jones, Hillbilly Swarp, Cynthia Webb, Pia Reza, Edward Wesson, Dan Larkin, Catherine K, Zealand Zen, and Azith. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate y'all for doing what you do. And on that note, I'm out. Y'all be safe. Peace.